Welcome back, everybody. This is Mark 159 of Geeks Chasing Squirrels Across the Multiverse. My name is Greg. I am the Bat Daddy 52. We have a ton of stuff to talk about this week. But before we get into anything, I have a bone to pick with a bunch of people tonight. A bunch of people. Ross, you're one of them. Ross, Nathan, Cody, Travis, all my friends who have told me this the whole time. I've got Game of Thrones has taken over my life. Okay, taken over my effing life. And not only has it been such a great thing for me to view, but it has ruined regular television for me. Like, ruined it. I can't watch anything else now and get excited anymore. It is so great and irritating. But we're going to talk about that. Ross, what's up, buddy?
Celebrating Batman's favorite holiday, Black Friday, by doing nothing. I've been sick too. Had a wonderful 48 hours of basically getting every single symptom, but as fast as it came in, it went right back out. I'm feeling pretty good for like the past 4 hours. So I'm on the uphill right now.
There you go. That's what's up. Good to know you're doing better. Yeah, I've been down for the last few days myself. So, Sarah, what's up?
I'm 100% healthy right now.
There's a bug going around the Carolinas. So.
The world.
Yeah, the world. Yeah. I mean, I don't know about the world. I just live here.
Weeks ago.
Yeah.
Well, I got a house full and got the kids home for the holidays, so I'm like, stay away from me. But yeah,
I'm not gonna lie.
Hold up in my little office.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. That was the only thing. I hope you all had a happy Thanksgiving. By the way, I can't believe we didn't think about that. But that was the only thing kind of beneficial about getting sick around this time. We had a bunch of people planning on coming over. We had a bunch of food, everything ready to go. Well, I got sick, so nobody wanted to come over. Understandable. No hardship or worries or anything. No problem. We still have this food, so we made all the food. So my fridge is full of a ton of food, but it was so easy. Me and my wife just tag teamed it all day long, did the dishes all day long, knocked out all the food all day long, had dinner, cleaned everything up, bam, done. 8:30, laying down in bed watching Game of Thrones. It was great. So
just count down until you can watch Game of Thrones.
Oh my gosh.
It's like, I don't even know why we're podcasting right now. I could be watching Game of Thrones.
No, seriously. Seriously, like when I got off work, I had to watch the Andor finale and the Titans episode this week. And I was like genuinely upset that I had to spend time watching something other than Game of Thrones, even to the point where I'm watching this. I'm even taking notes on this stuff, but I'm thinking about Game of Thrones. Like, it's like I'm cheating on somebody, It's really, really weird. This show has, like, I don't know, man, it's taken over for me. And maybe it's because my wife really enjoys it too. So we're both into it. And I have, some of our best friends are really into it too. And a lot of my best friends are really, really into it. So I don't know, man. But Sarah, I'm telling you, at least give it the first season. And after the first season, if you're not like completely blown away, then I can understand. But man, this show, I picked on Cody when he said, I picked on a few people when they told me it was the best show they've ever seen in their life. I was like, there's no way. It's so hard to say that. I'm only halfway through it, and it might be the best show I've ever seen in my life, to be true. And I thought that about Breaking Bad when I saw it, Walking Dead when I saw it, like all this stuff, like after everybody had seen it. And I have the benefit of seeing it all right now. I just watched House of the Dragon. I've been reading the books, and now I get to binge the entire series. Whereas most people had to go through the strenuous, 10-year period or however long it was, watching it every Sundays when the seasons were out, 10 weeks a year. I mean, so I get to benefit it a little bit differently. And Ross, you told me not to rush it. And everybody I'm talking to about right now says they're very jealous because they only get to experience this once. And there are moments where I'm never going to feel that way again when I see this, but I will definitely watch it again. And I'm telling you, completely changed. I've never felt this way watching television. Some of the emotions I felt, never, ever before. It's crazy, man. I love the show.
And you're in the first half. I mean, like,
I'm in the first half. Yeah,
you still have. I'm interested. I want to know what you think when you get done. But clearly, we're going to get some ideas about your first half enjoyment so far tonight. But I don't know. I don't know who would hold something back from you like this. I don't know.
Well, not having HBO. That's what held it back from me. If I'd had HBO, I'd have been watching it. But I didn't. Now I do. And I will. But we will talk about that a little later. I think Cody may even come on a little later, talk some Game of Thrones with us. But we've got a lot of other things to talk about. Some very interesting stuff this week. I guess we got the Andor finale and the Titans. Is this the finale before the break, or is there one more episode?
I don't know what in the hell they're doing.
Yeah, that's pretty much the.
Let's start there. I like that. Let's start there. Let's go Titans then.
What the hell they're doing?
Yeah. I don't know what they're doing either. Like, this is
it like She-Hulk where the writers are just sitting in a room and say, "Hey, let's just think about this shit and let's just go with this and see what happens." Oh, and then let's throw this in there and let's do that and the other. I feel like that's what that writers' room is doing. Or what in the hell?
I feel like She-Hulk may have had it a little more together than they do, to be truly honest with you. And you know how I feel about She-Hulk.
Ooh.
Like, and I like these characters better than the She-Hulk characters, but I mean, like, I feel like, I don't know, I had a little more grasp on what they're doing with She-Hulk. And once again, maybe it's me not knowing knowing the villain or the story going on, and maybe I shouldn't know everything happening, but things don't make sense in this universe.
I know it's
right
magic.
Now.
I know it's magic, and you're doing that, supernatural type thing. I get that, but the hell, usually I can follow stuff, and I'm like, what? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm like, did I nod off and miss something? I mean, I don't know. I might have to go back. I don't know.
Dude, well, I know the
me
recap.
And Sarah feel this way. How do you feel, Ross?
I watched the recap, and the first thing that I thought to myself was, "Oh, wow, that did happen last week, and I'm about to do it again." And just watching the recap was enough to kind of throw me off. I love the intro to this episode. This episode was titled "Inside Man," and the music that they had coming into the front of it was very Tool-esque. I thought that was cool, and I'm like, you know what? Once again, Titans is still nailing it with the music here and there for me. Other than that, let's see, I had to take away the guy that plays Sebastian. I think that if they ever did a live action Arcane, he'd be a perfect Victor. I don't know what about his face. Maybe he's just wearing the glasses. He's just pulling it off. But you give him a little bit of a Russian accent, the dude could be Victor all day long.
He's very angular.
Yeah,
like you say,
that's why I think it works.
Type, yeah.
Yeah, I see that.
Well, and then there's a snake who has a snake door in the bathroom, and that's how this episode started off. And I was confused because I didn't know that there was actually snake doors on bathrooms.
Well, you're talking about the toilet snake.
Yeah, the toilet snake,
the toilet snake. Mm-hmm. Like, that was the first thing that caught me, and I was like, a toilet snake. Why do they have a snake coming out of the toilet? That doesn't. Nope.
It's Connor's toilet, baby.
That is a GIF and a meme right there, just asking to be made. Spread all over the internet.
And let's talk about this snake because I was very confused. At one point, I couldn't tell if another snake was coming out of Connor or if one was trying to go back in. I got that answer, unfortunately.
Like pregnant Connor when he was on the table.
Yeah,
I was like indigestion. I mean, what's going on right here? Something was rolling in there, and I'm just like,
Superboy's eating for 2 or 8-2. I don't know. It's weird. I get, like you said, the whole magic thing. It's just like it's such a breakaway from like other plot lines that we've had for Titans. And I said it last week, I think, that this would fit nicely in the Doom Patrol thing because it doesn't make any sense. And what I like about Doom Patrol is that it doesn't, like, I don't have to take it seriously. Like I said last week, I want to take this show seriously, and it's difficult. So,
well, there was one specific line in this episode, and it's when Connor's on the table, and I guess he's possessed, is what they're saying in this episode, and he's talking to Dick, and Dick's talking about, he says, we'll save you, you'll be all right. And he says, what? That's what you told Hank, right? And it made me think then, I was like, holy shit. He used to be in this show. Hawk and Dove used to be in this show. Yeah. I don't even remember this show back that far, but I loved this show then. And this show has gotten away from that right now. It's crazy because the first 2 episodes of this season blew me away. And maybe it was just because I was so excited to have Titans back because I was like, man, I love this show. And I feel like the first 2 were a little different, But since then, this show's kind of gone off the rails, and maybe it's just me not understanding. but it's really, really taken some crazy turns. Like the whole Beast Boy with the virus thing. I like the idea of that. Okay. And it's cool. But like they even bring up in the episode, they say, well, the problem is we don't know how to get you back. Okay, cool. Well, this
But
is
just
the
go with
problem.
it.
This is the
Just do
problem
it.
we got to solve before we do this, you know? And after that, they're like, whatever, we don't know how to get you back. Cool. We'll figure it out. What?
Yeah.
What do you mean we'll figure it out? No. You figure that out before you go in. Otherwise, it's not a plan. Because what's the point then? You know?
It was a plan. I mean, it was if Schrodinger's cat is a plan, like they did it.
Yeah.
Like that's how it is.
I mean, I don't know. And I guess, do we say this is the penultimate before the mid-season break?
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess so.
So I guess we're gonna go into the second half of the season with Brother Blood, the Sebastian becoming Brother Blood is what I'm assuming, because this episode, for me, it seems like, I don't know, just me. If you have a guy and you know you've got to keep him from people until this time, and you know the time, this time right here, maybe like lock him in a secure room.
That's what they tried to do.
Guarded by people.
What they tried to
do. Well, kinda.
No, I'm with you. They didn't do it well
They just
enough.
kind of sat in a room in Star Labs, like lock him in a secure room where nobody can get to him.
And Rachel's just okay with someone coming in to give her a break.
Yeah,
like you commit 8 hours, you might as well just commit to the 8 hours.
Yeah. And then the other thing that got me with this one was, okay, so Corey's talking with the other girl at the diner while Sebastian and Raven are there. Okay. And the other girl gives her this vision of her and Dick together, and they have this baby, blah, blah, blah. And it's cool, whatever. I like the little vision. But then afterwards, like she freaks out. Like you don't see anything but the balloon fly away. Nothing crazy happens in that vision. It's actually a nice little birthday party. Okay. But afterwards, like she's like, you showed me what was going to happen, how everything was going to end. I'm not going to let that happen, and this kind of stuff. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like the vision I just saw is exactly what you would want. A nice happy ending to everything. We didn't see any kind of destruction or death or people being taken, like nothing in that vision, at least for us, from our point of view, at least yet, that would have made her react like that. So I had no idea what the reaction was for. Did anybody else pick up on that?
Well, that vision wasn't the first time we've seen it, right? Like we've seen the whole thing with Dick being the child to a parent, or Dick being in her vision before, and I just don't think we've seen it to that extent.
Right.
Now you're right. Like it was plenty weird. I don't. Once again, a vision that I don't quite understand why it connects. Her last vision got her to this point, and like that was its own weird thing. I don't really know what's going on. I want to make sense of it, but I really don't. I'm more intrigued in this episode from them making a stupid Snakes on a Plane reference to Samuel L. Jackson. I was stuck trying to figure out why Zadira and Corey had a handshake in the diner. Like that was very like Zoltanish. I don't know where that came from, but like they were, I don't know, sisters from a different mister. I don't know. Like it was weird for them to come back. And have we seen Zadira? I'm kind of confused on like if she's been in previous episode, because I'm totally fixated on her
she was
sister.
Talking to in the diner.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't believe we have, because I didn't know her name. So we may have. I may have missed her, but yeah, it's always her sister that I remember.
Yeah, I don't quite understand the fascination with the diner either. Like it's just like a set that they built that they have, and they just want to keep using it. It holds significance to Corey, and I guess every time she's there, it seems like Raven's there too. But
it's because it's where they met, right? Isn't that what they said last time? Yeah, I believe it's what they said, is where they met, or something like that. I can't remember.
But they might have met in a vision in the diner.
Lord
knows. I don't know. I feel bad because I should remember all this stuff, and I don't remember any of it because, like you said, when you don't remember that Hawk is in it. Whew.
Yeah. Like I thought about that. Like when he made that comment, I was like, "Holy crap!" I was like, "Used to be Hawk and Dove in here." Like I remember, like And not saying this show's bad or anything. It's just it's gotten away from where it was, you know? Like, I remember there's one point in time we had Wonder Girl in here, and they brought Aqualad in here and everything else, and I was like, holy shit, man, we're about to really do this up. And then they killed all those characters off, and it's like, well, okay. We're just going to keep Beast Boy, who doesn't transform into anything that you can see except a virus.
It's a virus.
Yeah. Look, I like the virus thing, and
I like the idea. Yes.
Yeah, that was the thing. You're right. There's no way in heck that any of that should have happened without an exit strategy. But, and I mean, it was, you know, very coincidental that it probably took absolutely barely any money at all to make that transformation happen, because it was all on screen, on like a TV screen, and it was all essentially like an X-ray type thing going on.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's in a bath of green liquid. Was it green or orange or whatever it was?
Algae? I don't know.
I want to know how he got out.
Yeah, they never explained that.
Well, they did like spit somehow, and then like, oh, we just hope to hell he's in here, and then maybe we'll just. That's what it felt like to me. Somehow he got out of Connor in some form or fashion, and then
we're gonna have to get that snake out somehow.
Yeah, exactly. So I see this. Then I see this tank of liquid. I'm thinking they have no idea. They're just hoping, fingers crossed that our little virus is in there so he can pop back out. And apparently that's how it works.
Oh, and let me say, I know I left my notes in my truck, but I did take notes on this. But I do remember one thing I wrote down was, okay, so there's the Tim and his what's the guy who works at Star Labs name? I can't remember his name. The tech guy in the chair.
Ooh, I have to see if I got that down.
Well, anyway, so when they first come upon the snake, it's funny because like they go to it, and as soon as they see it, like they don't even attempt to fight or anything. They just turn duck and run, right? And then later on in the room when they're all talking, Tim's like, "I knew I should have killed it when I had the chance," and I was like, "What are you talking about?
No, dude,
you turned and ran. You didn't even attempt to kill it. Like, what are you talking about? I should have killed it when I had the chance." But yeah, I definitely picked up on some romantic vibes between those two as it was going on, and I was like, I wonder where they're taking this. And then, of course,
oh, dude, I told you his name was Bernard. I told
Bernard,
you like the first 2 episodes. I'm like he's trying to. That's
I didn't pick up on that the first 2 episodes, but yeah, it's whatever. I don't even care. It's just crazy that, like I said, he was like, I should have killed it when I had the chance and stuff like that. And I was like, dude, you didn't even. There's no chance. You would have no chance.
Let me talk about this little team right here. Let me just talk about this little whole team in general.
Please do.
Because I'm still trying to figure out what in the hell does Tim have to get to offer. Now, I understand Tim Drake. I get that. But I'm like, this cat has got a long way to go before I can even put 2 and 2 together on that one. Sure. Number 2, what in the hell is going to happen with Raven? Because I hope she finds her smoke at some point, because this blonde Raven is just not working for me.
I think it looks better, but
it's just, I don't know. It's just like she's lost her vibe, and I get what happened. I get that. But I'm just like, is not only the wheels falling off of the storyline, but the wheels are falling off the characters too. I mean, they're just not it's not who we knew them to be. It's just like, right. I don't know if they're going through this little evolution, how you got to go and kind of find yourself and then maybe snap back. I don't know. But that's really trying to me right now, because I'm thinking, because Rachel was like, well, I decided I want to be a Titan. The hell you are right now.
Yeah.
Right now you're a babysitter. I don't know what's going on right now, but it's just, I guess it's like the darkest before dawn. I'm hoping that's what's happening right now.
Well, I think the magic thing is like supposed to be the inverse of everything. And so none of these people have any control or power over magic. So it's trying to make them all seem powerless. Well, it just so happens to be that Tim Drake actually is powerless. And maybe they're just putting him front and center to be the person who is supposed to be telling you what you're supposed to be feeling, because all of the other ones can't do anything either, as much as they're trying. You see Corey and her little blue fireballs, and she's not really doing a whole lot other than, getting a couple punches in against this mother woman. So, no one else is doing anything. Jinx was able to knock her out, but once again, Jinx came out of nowhere. Like, all of a sudden, like, we're just supposed to be cool with that. It feels so rushed. And that peripheral show we were going to talk about later, like, it's like my beef is kind of with that too. It comes to be with the writing and trying to understand what the overall bigger picture is.
Yes,
and
it's difficult to understand.
Yeah, and so Titans it's laughable how it's not easily understandable. That's part of the problem. One show I can take a lot more seriously. This show ends up being the one I can't take seriously. But you're right. The team doesn't make sense because once again they changed the rules for this season. Magic's involved, and we don't know what the rules are yet, other than the fact that it's all a scrambled mess.
Yeah,
it just feels a lot like Doom Patrol.
Yeah, but Doom Patrol does it well.
That's
right.
Yeah.
It's almost like that kind of, where it's just everything's just going, everybody's going every which way. So I'm just hoping at some point that, like I said, it's going to pull it back in, and that's what I'm holding on to. That's just what I'm holding on to, because right now, just watching it, you're like, oh my God, my poor brain, I can't follow this right now.
Right. Well, there's two problems with this show right now that I can see. Is it's too individually focused on characters. I want to see a Team Titans show, a team of players together. Okay, like I get they all have background stories. We're in season 4.
Yeah,
I should know enough background for all these characters now, where you could still have a little side story here or there if you want to, but the main focus should be a team effort against a villain. 2. If you're going to bring back a villain for 2 times in 4 seasons, it should not have been Trigon. It should have been Deathstroke. Period. That's it. I mean,
they did bring Deathstroke back, dude.
Yeah, I know, but you're right. He did. He should be an underlying villain that's in the background all the time, like a Lex Luthor and Superman. Like a Joker and the Batman. He should be that guy that you can always go back to. They should still be in the tower. Yes,
I think they should still be at a place. And no, now they're touring the city. 2 shows a weekend. I don't know why they're doing this.
I just don't care about Trigon, to be honest with you. Like it's like, give me some of Raven's stuff. If you want to give me a Raven show, cool, I'll watch a Raven show. But like beyond that, like I want and once again, I'm not a huge Titans reader. Maybe Trigon is a huge character in Titans. I don't know. But just me personally, I'd rather see something like a Deathstroke. And I feel like that's where they've kind of lost the audience. We don't know enough about Trigon to really be invested in him and like him as a villain, because you have to like the villain too.
Yeah,
I don't know anything about him.
He was
like from what they told me in the show.
Oh, not the end of season 1.
The end of season 1, the very beginning of season 2.
I had totally forgot about him, but then I'm like, okay, let me kind of rewind a little bit. And if I remember correctly, they kind of took him out pretty simplistically, like kind of.
Yeah, wasn't too difficult.
So how are you supposed to if you're going to bring that back? Was it going to come back bigger and badder?
Well, yeah, they're bringing back the second generation, and they're bringing back the whole entire fan club posse that comes with them. That all of a sudden wants to just chant his name, and he's okay with it. This show.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed with the direction this show is going right now. Gonna continue to watch it because even with that, like the aesthetics, the costumes, the actors, everything else is still phenomenal about the show. It's just the story writing is really kind of going off the rails for me right now.
And what's going on with Connor? I mean, come on, what's going on with this dude?
What's always going on with Connor?
I'm like,
seriously, what's always going on?
This poor fella just can't catch a break. Loses one dad, the other one flies away. Then he gets eaten up by snakes, and he gets you get stabbed by something when you thought you were impenetrable. So I'm like, I'm sure he's really shook to the core right now, because he didn't really know who he was to begin with.
Yep.
I mean, it's just a taste of reality. We'd all be shook to the core if we had a snake in us too. So he's just kind of feeling what we would feel normally every single day.
You live.
So, yeah.
I mean, I guess if you're gonna have a parasite in you and you're Superboy, that's pretty much like the Superboy equivalent of a parasite. Just a big ass snake.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty gross. There's only 2 ways it's coming out too.
3. I mean,
yeah.
He's got a nice old Connor hole here.
That's true. Yeah. Forgot about his
snake. He's got snake door.
That's right.
Therefore 2. Yes.
I don't know where they're going. I'm just
I'm the same way.
Doing this. I'm like, just pull it back together. I know it's going every which way, but let's snap it back.
I'm hoping that they are just kind of like making me want to give them something to talk about for the next few months until they come out with the second half of season 2. And then I'm like, whoa, I was wrong. Check this show out. And I still will be. Tell everybody to check the show out because it's an awesome show. But I don't know, man. We'll see.
In like a month or two, when we reach the halfway end point for Doom Patrol, we should talk about the 2 of these.
Are they doing that with Doom Patrol too?
Yeah, I told you they were part 1, part 2, part 2.
All right.
But you get nonstop, like I said, you can still call it the Berlanti-verse.
So while Doom Patrol's not going on, Titans will be, basically.
It's Titans, then Doom Patrol, and then Titans, and then Doom Patrol. I believe that they are supposed to go right off of one another.
Cool. Okay.
I think this is another test for what show they could keep. And what's keeping HBO subscriptions if it happens to be. I mean, these shows are not. You don't get HBO for these shows, but I guess which one kind of helps people stay along a little bit longer. They can watch viewership. I think it's an unfair time to do it around the holidays, but that's just me.
That's a good question. Both of y'all right now, you have to cut one. Titans or Doom Patrol. What are you doing?
Titans. But I'm a Doom Patrol fan. I love Doom Patrol.
I get that. It's tough, ain't it?
It's tough for me. It's tough for me because it's like I got a love-hate relationship with both of them.
Yeah.
If Titans either did the team thing or just literally could tell almost any other story, there's just so much potential. Last week we talked about they could do all of these, their own shows, make them all work, most of them, and they would be fanatical, like just absolutely awesome. You give them a team show and then you give them these writers and it's just not working. Like it's not gelling. The chemistry's not there. It's not working the way that it should. And that's disappointing because, I think we all like the actors and actresses. I think that we all like, what they could do with it in our own brains, but they're just not. And it's been, like you said, now we're on our 4th season. And
it's kind of make or break, right?
Yeah. Like the 2nd season was pretty dang good.
Mm-hmm.
To be what it was, I think the 2nd season might be my favorite.
I like the 3rd season too. I like the Red Hood storyline, So
yeah, it's the Scarecrow thing. That was the only thing that was a little too much. But
yeah, I can understand that. I mean, look,
but it was a good way to tell a story.
It is. Honestly, I like Titans better than Doom Patrol. Just like, and I only say that because if it just you asked me Titans, Doom Patrol, what do you want to watch right now? I would more than likely say Titans. But I do really like Doom Patrol, and based on the direction Titans is going, as far as just storytelling, I want to see what Doom Patrol does this season. But if Doom Patrol can tell a better story this season, then I would say keep Doom Patrol and cut Titans. Because another reason for that is because I don't think you'll ever see these Doom Patrol characters minus maybe Cyborg on the big screen. I want to see Nightwing. I want to see Raven. I want to see Starfire. I want to see these characters on the big screen. So if you got to take them off the TV show to do that, I would probably cut Titans.
Yeah. I'm not even a fan of the Cyborg version in Doom Patrol.
No, I like the actor, but yeah, I don't like that version. Yeah. That Kmart looking suit. Yeah. My cosplay is going to look better than Cyborg's. Whenever
that's me because I like Titans more because I feel like they can pull it together and be more of what I like. Doom Patrol, it's kind of hit or miss because the crazy outlandishness and just the craziness. Sometimes I can handle it. Some days I'm like, you know what? I'm not feeling this. I'm just not, that's just not me. So it's just, you got to kind of take it with a, sometimes with Doom Patrol, I got to be in a certain type of mindset to watch. Otherwise, I'm just like, oh my God, really? Yeah. Now, remember, I've got a 12-year-old child in the house too, so he talks about crazy shit. Not that crazy, but just, I mean, we still have the fart jokes. We still have all that, so it's still, like that sophomore type stuff. So that's why I kind of see Doom Patrol, but it's just, on the, just kind of went off the edge a little bit, but more of the, I've got more of the G/PG rated in the house, but right. I don't know. That kind of humor, sometimes it hits, sometimes I'm like,
well, that's actually
but
really
but I want to see superheroes. I'm thinking Titans. I'm not thinking Doom Patrol.
But how many seasons of that can you take if they keep it up like this?
I don't think Titans. I think this is going to be it for Titans. I really do. I think it's going to be it for them. I mean, it's always been, you've had pretty decent seasons. Season finales have always, because you always have that running joke, so they can stick the landing. I don't, unless they really pull a rabbit out of their hat, I don't see them sticking the landing this go around.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot that they have to pull back in, or a lot that they're going to have to, get a good vein of a story going instead of having, all of these. It's like driving down a country road. You got a lot of these turns. It's like I'm taking a turn and you're not even giving me a turn signal. You're just like snatching the wheel. That's what it's kind of feeling.
Right. Well, and Titans kind of has their hands tied behind their back a little bit too on this, because like with Titans, like, it's like you said, Sarah, you put it perfectly. Like when I think superhero show, I think Titans. I don't think Doom Patrol. Doesn't mean one show's better than the other. I just don't think Doom Patrol. Titans has their hands tied behind their back because so much of what they have, they can't use. You can't put Batman, Superman, Joker, all these big characters that everybody wants to see or knows on the screen. Whereas Doom Patrol, man, you got free range to do just about anything you want to do. Like, I mean, there's not a lot you can't really tangle with, and nobody can tell you, no, this doesn't make sense, because how many people do you know read Doom Patrol comics? And even if they don't read Doom Patrol comics, know a lot about Doom Patrol. Like, I'm sure there are tons of people who are listening, like, oh, I know a ton. I'm sure there are. Fine. I'm just saying, I know every time I've ever gone to a comic book shop, that's never been like a section on the wall.
Not something I actually look for.
Right. So, just saying.
If they put a giant butt on there, you might look for it. No.
Yeah. See, that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. It's like sometimes I think it's funny, and some days I'm like, really? Yeah. Really? But that's like the little sex ghost up in the corner. I'm like, really?
Yeah. Banging it out, getting the cobwebs out.
Just Cliff Steele by alone, man. Which, by the way, I heard he is crushing it in that new movie Whale. Brendan Fraser.
Who? Oh yeah.
Brendan Fraser. Oh yeah, in that new movie Whale. I heard he is crushing it. And that, like, people who are seeing it are saying it's the best performance they've ever seen.
Oh yeah, dude, that's been internet talk for like 6 months now. Ever since he gave that spiel.
Yeah, I want to check it out.
He was even talking about the Mummy the other day too. He was like giving props, even though how bad the CGI was for the what was it for the second one? We had The Rock as the
Scorpion King.
He was like, I don't care. I was like, dude, if you ever come back as Rick O'Donnell, oh my God, I will die. I will die. You hear me?
I've got a bunch of places. One of the places I really like getting shirts from just released a bunch of Brendan Fraser shirts. And first thing that I saw, I was like, oh, I need to send these to Sarah. But I think that's just it in a nutshell, though. I think that I like Doom Patrol more because when I think superhero shows, that's not it, and it's just a fun watch, and I enjoy it because I don't go into it with, like I said, with Titans, I have expectations because I do think superheroes, and with Doom Patrol, I don't. And you're right, I'm completely worried that at the end of the day, none of this is going to matter because none of it's going to exist. If they're really going to try to do in any sort of MCU style DCU, I have to think that they're going to do a lot of retracting on all of their properties before they do a whole lot more of letting new content come out. Yeah, because they need a starting point. Their timeline needs a begin. So
they really kind of they pinned themselves into a corner. DC TV did whenever they came out with Arrow, because for all the shit you can give Arrow for the bad stuff ahead, all in all, it's probably the best DC TV show that's ever come out. And that was their real. I mean, of course, they had stuff before that, but that was their what really. Well, I don't know. I guess what's the one that I never watched that everybody tells me, the 10-year young
Flash superhero? Oh,
I don't know why I never watched it, but let's see. Ross didn't either, obviously.
No, hold on, I got this.
Sarah, you know this. It's the one with all the young superheroes on it, where Superman never flies.
The Tomorrow.
No,
like Young Justice.
Legends of Tomorrow.
No,
are we talking about that?
It was when we were younger, man. It was like, gosh, why can't I remember the name of the show? I feel like such an idiot right now. And anybody who's listening right now is probably screaming.
The one that was on when we were younger. Talk Smallville.
Smallville.
Yes,
I'm talking about Smallville.
That's her jam.
Yeah, that's what I said. I knew it was Sarah's jam. I was like, Smallville. I was like, yes, that's Smallville. That's the one with all the young superheroes, right?
Well, Smallville was unto itself because it was like nobody really knew who they were. It was
But what I mean is that was like DC's first TV show thing, like that I can remember, like being really, really, really mainstream.
It's
and
like
then
DC
Arrow.
Dawson's Creek.
That's exactly what I was just gonna say.
Yeah, okay, that's probably why I never watched it, to be really honest with you.
That reminds me of so funny. I was watching the TikTok the other day, and it was like, how I'm sorry, squirrel, but it's one of those TikToks where it's like, yo, you're this old if you remember this, all that, and it had all these like montages and stuff, and it had like the opening scene for like opening credit for Smallville. We see Tom Welling's face, and Claire was sitting beside me. I said, Claire, look, because she hasn't seen the show. I've played it like every now and again when I think about it, and she saw it and she was just kind of like, I said, you've seen this guy. You remember this is the guy that mommy was all excited to see, and he's the one you call, and you looked at him like, and he called you out for it. She's like, oh, that's him. I'm like, these are not my children. These are not my children. How are these my children?
Yeah.
Let's actually, now that you bring that up, let's talk about a little bit of the crappier news that we got this week with Jason David Frank. I mean, talk about
bring that up. Yes, good.
Yeah. He never got a chance to make the big project that he was talking about making, the new Power Rangers jam. And, we're all going to be sad about that. Because, Jason David Frank as Tommy was, the thing that everyone wanted to be whenever Power Rangers was the thing. Older girls found him attractive. Young boys wanted to be him. It was... Yeah. It was pivotal. What did Power Rangers run for? How many seasons?
Series was 93 and 96. I think 3 years. I can't remember how many seasons though.
Yeah, because it was 93. Because I went back and looked it up because I was like, damn, when was it? Because I knew it was like in the beginning, the first season, and there was like 3 or 4 part episodes of like the Green Ranger.
Yeah, I think it was like
because he came in like the bad guy, that kind of thing, and then because I remember, oh my god, I remember coming home after school seeing that. And like I said, I was in high school too. I was just like, yeah, like going home and watch Power Rangers. I'll see y'all later.
I remember getting picked on the bus on the way to school for liking Power Rangers. Like, I just remember that, and I was like, but I like it.
Dude, I remember not even
watch it.
Not even a decade ago, I still had the Green Ranger flute sound as a ringtone at some point.
Yeah.
And the greatest thing ever is like when you have kids and they discover things. I remember, I think Gage was probably like maybe 3 or 4 or something, when we kind of gave, pretty much like, here's Netflix, watch it, and he started figuring it out. And I remember he was in the living room, I was in the kitchen, and I heard this voice, and it was Rita Repulsa. I was like, I haven't heard that in a minute. I said, what are you watching? And he looked, and I was like, my boy found Power Rangers on his own. So yeah, that was, okay.
Look, the hair on my arms right now is standing up just thinking about the Go-Go Power Rangers theme song. Just like when I hear that, I remember hearing that in the new reboot movie. Like the whole time I was watching the movie, I was like, man, they've got to play this song at some point in time. And just for one moment at the end, in the very end battle, they did. And I was like, that did it right there. That does it for me. It's perfect. I love it. Ross, did we go see that movie in theaters when we were kids together?
I think so.
It was
like was it 97, 98? Whatever.
Yeah, so we were like 7th, 8th grade, somewhere around there.
Whichever, it came out.
Yeah.
Pick your head up. Pick your head up.
But I remember going to see it in theaters. Now, this one really hits you hard because unexpected. At least I didn't know anything about it. It's kind of like the Chadwick Boseman thing. There may have been people who knew anything about anything going on, but I knew nothing about it. I haven't really looked into a lot of it beyond this point because it is what it is.
He had a lot going on. He had a lot of, I think he was in the midst of a divorce and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, kind of some tough stuff, in personal, that kind of thing. So, you never really know what people are battling. That's the thing about it.
His daughter came out and did a whole write-up thing on social media, which personally I wish people would kind of stop doing that, or not address with the way that they want to address their loved one that's now gone on social media. But that's just me. Now I'm all of a sudden blanking on what the Red Power Ranger's name was.
In the show, Jason.
Yeah, I know his name was Jason. But the actor came out and
Austin St. John.
Yeah.
He did a little thing, just talking from his phone, and was like, it was no secret that we were, drinking buddies, and we had all these things, and he didn't come out and say anything other than the fact that you could clearly tell he was distraught. The guy was 49. It's sad, especially when he had such a fan base. I mean, because he was everywhere. He reminds me of. Actually, no, it's like Ray Park reminds me of him. Mm. So minus I don't think Jason David Frank did as many screwed up things as Ray Park did, but it sucks and it's sad because he's like a con favorite for all sorts of people, and he's always there, and like everyone wanted to see him do a reboot, not a reboot or a remake or whatever you want to call it. They wanted to see the next great thing that they could come out with for Power Rangers because it sticks with so many people. Mm-hmm. It sticks with all of us. Down to their next generation, everyone's got a taste of Power Rangers somehow, some way, and he encompassed more than just the one that he started with. He was in so many different ones,
mm-hmm.
and
that's the thing. You were so excited when you saw him too, and you saw Tommy was in something. You're like, oh shit! This, it's like even though you got the new ones, you're just like, oh my god.
Yeah, I didn't. And I haven't watched any of the newer ones, but
I love the Rangers in Space. Because I saw somebody had, I think it was on Twitter or whatnot, had like posted like a clip or something. And it was like a lot of the Red Rangers, and then I was like, "Oh, that's Andros." It's like, "Oh my god, I hadn't thought about that guy." I'm like, I can't remember when, because I mean, I used to watch that, and I was like, "Oh my god, all these memories are coming back of like, oh yes, the nerd runs deep." Love it.
For me, I've always been a White Ranger guy. I like the Green Ranger, but like the last two helmets I bought, it's been debating between the one I bought and the White Ranger helmet, which means the next one I've got to get has got to be a White Ranger helmet because it's just one of the baddest helmets ever.
You better hurry the heck up.
I know. Well, I'm had to make my own. But the thing was like, I never watched any of the Power Rangers because like I would just look at the suits and be like, that's just not like the original Power Ranger suits. There's just something about the original Power Ranger suits from the series that we watched that was just amazing. And there's only one thing you could have done better to those suits, and that was what they did with White Ranger or the Green Ranger and that shield over it. That was it. Anything else they do to it after that is dumb.
No, the movie was the best part. Like when they came out with the movie, I think that was
the pleather type looking stuff,
like almost like the stormtroopery heavy plastic type ABS style stuff.
That was cool. Well, what I mean is they didn't change the design a ton. Then it was still basically the same design. Nowadays they've changed all the designs of all the suits and the helmets and everything. It looks kind of crazy. And now NFL helmets look like Power Rangers helmets. It's really nuts. Really, really nuts. Look at Ezekiel Elliott's helmet. Looks like
I guess you're not too far off from that.
But yeah, like I said, I was just about to bring this up, Ross. You must have been reading my mind because we definitely needed to mention this. I know I hate that he had so much stuff going on, and I hate everything that happened with him. But if, for what it's worth, I know he's touched millions of hearts and affected millions of people. He's somebody that I'll always remember, and it'll always hold a place in my heart. I can go back and think about going back and watching those shows and getting off and not being able to wait to see what happened with the Green Ranger. Was he going to be defeated, and then him being turned to the White Ranger, him coming back, and like it's just so nostalgic, man. It was one of the best times of my life to go back and remember, and he's in it.
And
so he'll forever be in my heart with that.
I didn't realize how old he was. I'm like 49. That's not too far from me. Well, I'm like, damn, I didn't realize I was that close.
It's no secret, but they weren't teenagers that were saving him.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, what teenagers played a teenager? I mean, it's still, I didn't realize it was, that close. I mean, that close in age. That's nuts.
Yep.
Yeah. He's got one more movie coming out. Legend of the White Dragon. And it actually has two other Power Rangers from different Power Rangers lines, I guess. I don't know the date on it. I just know they said they had, he had one more movie coming out. But you brought up something, made me think about it. So I figured I'd just talk about it real fast before we jump to the next thing.
Well, it's funny when Sarah said sophomoric earlier. I don't know why that reminded me of it. I was like, oh yeah. I don't know why that specific word, because I guess I associate him with high school because, so I have no idea. Just sophomoric made me think of it, and I was like, okay, I'll bring that up when we stop talking. So
green candles are my thing. That whole arc with Tommy being the Green Ranger, and that it was the green candle, and like when the candle was going to be extinguished was when he was going to die or like lose his power, like whatever the case may be. And so like every time I remember, that sticks in my head for some reason watching that show being young, and now every time I've gone anywhere and seen something just like it, like a fat green candle for no reason, I'm like, oh yeah, I just have a little Power Rangers corner with a candle. You don't even need to cosplay anything.
It's funny you say that because every time I light a match, I think about Fifth Element, that last scene of Fifth Element where they're every single time I have one match left, I light it. And I'm like, oh. Like, it's pretty funny. But yeah, things stick with you like that. All right. Well, y'all want to go on to the next show? Or
Let's
did you have
some
more news you wanted to put out there?
I mean, I don't know if you want to talk about news.
I mean,
there ain't a whole lot.
Not really.
Kind of been a slow week. There were some trailers. You guys are Letterkenny fans. I don't know if you saw your new trailer for Letterkenny.
I did not, but I'll have to get
season 11. You're gonna talk about shows that have been out forever. Yeah,
that's a hilarious show.
I love Letterkenny, but I always find out about it after the fact. So I was like, damn.
Yeah. Other than that, there's it was the sad news with him. Oh, well, the Star Wars Disney shift. Not Star Wars, but the Disney shift. So the whole CEO thing, that's just something people have been talking about, which I think it's a great move. I think ever since Bobby Iger left, I don't know what like the repercussions were. I don't know what has not been his fault and what like was still in his reign of control beforehand. So,
well, I've seen rumors of them talking about he's going to sell it to Apple.
I sent you that article.
Yeah,
I don't know what the truth is in that. I mean, and I don't know if it was. I think they may be looking for a partner for their streaming service, but I'm not sure how that's going to pan out. I'm pretty sure
stronger, huh?
Yeah, we'll see. One of them's got a whole lot of money, and the other one has a whole lot of money. So.
Did y'all see that Henry Cavill Wolverine picture today?
I think no, not today. I saw a cosplay forever back.
Let's see if I can pull it up. But yeah, I don't really have any other news other than
that. Yeah, it's really just like there's a whole bunch of the Star Wars things they talked about that we are probably never going to see. But I also, once again, didn't know if it was because of an Iger or Shepnick problem. And then the actress that played Dedra Deidre, however you want to say her name, from Andor was supposed to play in the spin-off Game of Thrones prequel. That never happened. That was 8,000 years before Game of Thrones.
No.
So that prequel's not happening, so which means she's not getting her role in there. So
I have a 500-year period of Game of Thrones right now that I am doing my best to learn everything on, and I have a pretty good grasp on. It's a ton to learn. You never need to expand out of this 500 years. Like,
you're also doing it at warp speed when you don't have to.
I kind of got you.
Did you? You may have only made it to one character, but did you figure out one of the characters that's in Andor from Game of Thrones?
No, but I haven't been paying attention. I haven't been trying. I've been trying to figure out who Jon Snow's mother is.
I haven't been paying attention, says the guy who's been living in this universe as much as humanly possible.
But I haven't been looking to see who is also a Star Wars character.
He's like absorbing it like from like the first the first flames, you hadn't gotten burnt yet. So you haven't really absorbed it all yet. So you're just like,
I just experienced the end of season 3 the other day. So I don't want to, it's wow. Yeah. That was an experience. And from what I've been told, that's not even, it gets better than that.
Oh yeah.
Which I don't know how, but I'm interested to see.
I won't dwell on that.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm wanting Sarah to watch it, and I don't want her to go into it with any knowledge or any kind of notion, because I went into it knowing things that happened in this show, and I'm still effing blown away all the time. So, yeah, I'll say no more. You should watch it. You'll love it. I'm telling you. This show.
Finish Rebels, and I will.
I'm. You know what? I finished the whole season of Rebels the other day. I did. I watched a whole season of Rebels, which, by the way, let's talk about that. We're here to talk about Rebels. Let's talk about that. I finished season 2 of Rebels. Wow. Wow. The last 2 episodes. Wow, man. That is
what is
Bane's.
Is it Shadow of the Apprentice? What is it called?
Something like that. Yeah, it's the one with Darth Maul, where they go to the Sith temple.
Yeah.
That's Bane's holocron. Malachon. They don't say Malachon 5 or Malachon 5 because it's Malachon 5 in Bane's book, but it's the same place. That's Bane's Sith or holocron they have. Wayfinder, excuse me. They changed the name of it now to Wayfinder, which I thought was awesome. Really, really cool. Maul actually says like 4 lines from the Sith Creed out of order, but he says them, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. And he talks about change, break your chains free and stuff like that. The scene itself was fantastic. And what's funny is I know that when I watched the Obi-Wan series and I watched the splitting of the mask, and I heard about how cool that was, and everybody online, or I think Rossi may have said, he was like, yeah, obviously anybody who's seen this hadn't seen the Rebel season 2 yet. And I was like, no, I guess I hadn't. Yeah, of course it happens in 2, a little bit differently, but man, it's gut wrenching, man. Like it is so intriguing. Just the whole season's great, right? But especially the last 2 episodes of the season is so intriguing to what's going on. I could watch that as a movie. Like I could pick a lot of stories out of this and see it live action and really enjoy it. That right there, those specific 2 storylines, I could watch as a movie and absolutely love it. Like that is the kind of stuff they need to put on in live action. I still don't quite understand the Darth Maul thing. I've never really figured out how exactly you got cut in half and you survived.
Yeah. Look, there's a lot of things in Star Wars, and actually Andor made me think of a couple of them that I just don't quite understand. One of them being like the whole credits monetization or monetary thing. I still don't understand how credits work exactly. Because it's, like the bigger, the heavier, the shinier the bar, the more it's worth. Even then, like I still don't get it. The other thing is laser bolt shots. Like stormtroopers have trouble nailing their shots, but like some people get hit and they're okay. Some people get hit and they die instantly.
Yeah.
But really, I think it's so easy to get lost in all the Star Wars stuff because you don't have to. You can just be okay with it sometimes. The Darth Maul thing is probably the longest stretch that you're gonna have to make to really understand how that's gonna work. How do you just, I mean, you know that the cut is going to, singe everything shut.
You see him fall in 2 pieces.
Right.
Like you see him literally fall into 2 different pieces down the tunnel. This is the only question that I've asked even the most avid Star Wars fans that I've never gotten an answer for. And I don't know why. It's just never even gotten an explanation. It's like, well, Star Wars. It's like, well, okay.
Well, when he comes back,
seems like a really big plot hole.
Because I mean, do you remember the episodes where he comes back in Clone Wars?
Vaguely.
Like he's batshit crazy. Yeah. He's completely lost it, and I don't know if it was the people that were on the planet or in at the very bottom of it, or if it was him. I can't remember who actually made the legs, but it was a major thing. And then his whole arc was essentially him ironically hitting rock bottom and then having to like rebuild himself up into some sort of formidable foe. And where you see him now in this season of Rebels is you see him at the other end of that. He's made the full arc to where now he's back at kind of the bottom again. Mm-hmm. And he's still trying to find a way. But I'm here to tell you that you're going to get a lot more.
Yeah.
You're going to get more from him.
Okay. Well, I mean, I figure I probably would because I know that he's a big thing with Ahsoka too. But I know... Okay, I watched the first 2 episodes of season 3, so I'm 2 episodes into season 3 because it's kind of it's a 2-parter. The first 2 episodes, and this is where they introduce Thrawn. And I will say, as somebody who's read the Thrawn books and loved the Thrawn books, I like the way they portray him in this. And from where he's coming in this scene is immediately after he's been promoted to Grand Admiral, and he refers to after he did this, and that's in the book. That moment's in the book. I will say the way they portray Governor Price in this show is way different than the way they do in the book. Like she's way more like assertive, aggressive, like imperial. Like in the book, she's like just a woman. Like she eventually like gets some, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. She eventually gets kind of a backbone and starts doing some things like that. But she's really just kind of a woman who's been promoted to this position from being an assistant and this and that. And so it's portrayed very differently than it is in the book. But once again, these stories in this show are different than what's in the book. It's obviously happening in between stories they're telling in the book. Because, like I said, when he comes in immediately,
I saw Rebels before I read the book. So now, when I was like reading the book, I'm like, that's not what I remember.
Okay. Yeah, no, I think it's super important to remember that if you digest this stuff out of release order, it loses a little bit. I like introducing people to stuff in chronological order for the most part. Clearly, if it helps, to machete the storyline or whatever you want to call it, you can do so. But watching things in chronological order, it's like the MCU movies. Like you can watch the MCU movies in chronological order, but the end scenes are what kind of mess you up. And so, when they start trying to convey the next thing that's going to happen, you may not see that for another 5 movies down the line or whatever the case may be. For Star Wars, it can be entire shows, and Rebels is an entire show that it's going to lose a little bit of an important scene that you're going to see. And I believe it's in season 3, could be in season 4, because of other things that you've already seen. And if you're already saying that you see the differences between the Thrawn novel and what they're introducing for the first 2 episodes of Thrawn, then you're going to pick up on a bunch of that. And it has the exact opposite effect of what you're getting with Game of Thrones right now, which is you're getting all that content so fast and you can just take it all in. Whereas the Star Wars really helps telling it in the linear release cycle.
Right. I will say that I think it was like the 18th episode of season 2. They introduced the whales, the space whales, and I already know how the story ends. Yeah, I already know how the story ends. I already know, what happens to Thrawn and Ezra. So like, I'm like, wait and see. And I see this, and like as soon as I saw it, I was like, wait a second. I was like, I recognize those things, from something I've read before. And yeah, it's cool that they're setting that up already, like his connection with these animals. One thing I did like about season 3 so far is the end of season 2, they start to show he's got this Sith holocron and he's kind of making that step towards the dark side. And I'm like, I want to see a Jedi story without the whole turmoil of he's going to turn to the dark side thing. And they started the second season off with that. And I was like, oh no, this teenage angst thing. Then they ended it quickly with the second half of the first season, or at least from what I've seen so far, they kind of nipped that in the bud.
Was that in the third?
That was the second episode. They got rid of the Sith holocron. They gave it to that
second episode of the third season.
Yeah, they gave it that gray Jedi lion, sand lion. Yeah, but
he went crazy, didn't he? Cut his hair in that season too.
Yeah, he cut his hair in that season. Yeah, so
he took Percocets like I did, shaved his head.
But hopefully, like I said, I'm about to start watching it again. But I'm so caught up and like wrapped up in Game of Thrones right now. But I'm going to start watching it again. Hopefully, they don't continue that whole angst of him being on the borderline, turning the dark side. It's like I just want to see a good guy story. Like, let's just see a good Jedi.
Imagine having to watch this on a completely screwed up release schedule.
Yeah.
Because Rebels was heavily plagued by that.
Why do y'all think I wait 10 years till something comes out before I watch it? Bam.
Because no one tells you that it's out.
So.
Or so I've been guilty of.
But no, I'm loving Rebels right now, man. I definitely am going to finish it. It doesn't take long to scream through them, but it's one of those things that like my wife is enjoying Game of Thrones. So when she's home, I'm watching Game of Thrones. When she's either asleep or not home, then I'm watching Rebels. So I got to kind of balance it out. But I'll definitely get done with it. At one point in time, I was caught up. I was on season 3 of Rebels and season 3 of Game of Thrones. Now on season 5 of Game of Thrones and still season 3 of Rebels. So, yeah.
Well, do we jump into Andor?
Let's do it. Let's do it, man. Season finale.
I just want to go ahead and say, fantastic show. I don't think that there's been an episode of this show that I walked away from thinking anything bad at all. Thinking like feeling lost, like in a negative way. Feeling like the writers completely screwed me over. Like from opening to closing of this show, fantastic for me.
Okay. I'll second that. I'll say that I really, really enjoyed the show. It's a phenomenal show. I do have some issues with the finale. I feel like the finale was very bleh. But I know we've got a lot. I know we got a lot. Yeah. So all in all, I really enjoyed the show. The finale didn't quite work as well for me. We'll go into that in a minute. What do you think overall, this, Sarah?
I mean, I've enjoyed it. Like I said, it probably took me about 3 episodes to really, because I know there were builder episodes. So when I finally started seeing things kind of like, drop into place, I'm like, okay, this makes sense. But I mean, it shows. I've found that usually if shows do that, to where it's like, the first 2 or 3, 1, 2 or 3 episodes, you're like, you're still interested, so you're still trying to don't spread it all. Don't give me a plate and just have everything else. I still want to figure out what courses are coming. So, but this, because my thing throughout this whole series, it's, obviously how the rebellion starts, the pieces they're putting into play, and then why Andor is going to be, I'm still trying to figure out why is he such a key part of it. And now I'm starting to see, because it's like for this finale, it just kind of that hit that nail on the head. Like, okay, now it's not a game; it's for real. It's the real stakes, and especially the last couple of episodes, it's really, you're starting to see the real stakes all involved. It's not just riding the horses through Cantabite and that kind of thing. It's not that kind of rebellion. This is something where it's like grassroots, starting from the beginning, like the very bottom, and how it's starting to literally build, block for block. Mm-hmm. And also you see how, the way the town, even with that little bit of the imperialism that's, basically taken over that town just to entrap Andor, and then you're like, why is this one guy so damn important? And that's what's so crazy about this show, because it's not really the one guy. It's like, it's everybody. But I love what Luthen had been doing. It's like, kind of like the smoke and mirrors type thing. It's like, okay, we'll set it up this way to make it look like this, but yet behind the scenes, we're doing this. So there's been a lot of stuff to make you think. So it's not like, like some of the Star Wars that we've had, where it's just right there in your face. It's not really that deep of a story, if that makes any sense. Mm-hmm. But then again, this is something where even if you took out the Star Wars aspect of it, it could be some kind of, set in that world, but not necessarily where you saying, okay, this is Star Wars, that kind of thing.
Right. This had a very 16th century revolution. Mm-hmm. Made me think of even gangs in New York. I mean, it had a heavy revolution vibe. And what I love about it is that from beginning to end of this entire series so far, what you've gotten is the tale of the average man's plight, mm-hmm. dealing with the rise of the Empire. And they did it in a way that, with a character that you already knew, you didn't need a whole lot of backstory with. You had just enough to figure out that you needed the rest of his backstory to really make sense of what the show is going to be about. But it was so fluid in the manner that he was constantly on his back foot. He was constantly downhill. He was constantly trying to fight something. And all that he wanted to do at the start of this entire thing was find his sister, which we still don't know anything about. And there's only one more season, so I really hope that they bring that point back. But the main plot is trying to get a character who wants to build a rebellion, who's trying to do anything to make that actually happen, and a pawn that he used, and basically understanding that he needs all of the pawns, because they're not all pawns. They're all going to be beneficial on the board. And so I'm very happy with this first season, because I thought that it told a great story with all of the history that Cassian we didn't need, but we got,
Mhm.
in all the little things intertwined. I'm not going to jump to the very end. I think we should hold the very end to the very end. But every bit of this kept people's interest in a Star Wars universe without making it super Star Warsy.
Yeah. You're right about that. They did a great job with that. I think if you're not even a Star Wars fan, you could watch this show and enjoy it just for the acting and the story lines and everything else. If there's one thing Star Wars really does well, at least in this show and the writing, it's speeches. They gave some great speeches and the actors delivered them perfectly. Especially in this episode, there's a couple of them in this episode. Absolutely fantastic. Now, I'm not going to get into the episode because we're it's going to be getting into details of it, and we'll do that in a minute. But for this one, it was like, okay, the first few episodes built up to the heist, and then I got the heist, and the heist was amazing. I loved it. The next few episodes built up to the jailbreak, and the jailbreak was amazing, and I loved it. Then these last few episodes built up to I'm not sure what. And then for me at the end, it was just kind of like, well, what was that all about? Like, as we go into it, you'll kind of see that, like, this episode, he's going back to meet to his mother's funeral for what reason, I'm not sure. Based on the stakes of doing that, I'm not sure what your even reasoning for going back would be. And then at no point in time do you face any kind of turmoil. At no point in time are you in any kind of danger. At no point in time do you have any kind of plan. And then you get out, and then you just move on. And I'm just like, well, they didn't really give me much this episode. They just kind of told a bland story. That there was no point in the story, at least in this episode, where I was like, oh, what's going to happen next? Or, oh no, he's about to get caught. Or how's he going to get out of this? It was just kind of, I'm here. Bam. And I don't know, for me, it just kind of fell after watching the buildup, like I said, for the heist, the buildup for the jailbreak, and the buildup for the funeral. It was like the funeral, there's just nothing. Like, he never was ever close to getting caught the whole time he was there. He never had to run from anybody or get away from anybody the whole time he was there. There was never any problem getting in. There was never any problem getting out. In fact, you didn't even show how he did get in or out because it was just no problem. And it's just like the whole time I'm supposed to believe this whole city is under this Imperial lockdown. But at no point in time does he ever face any kind of adversity in doing this. And it's just like, well, they're just kind of telling the end, wrapping at the end of a story to bring you into next season. It just felt lackluster for a finale for me, because I was expecting some kind of twist, some kind of battle, some kind of controversy, but it was more or less just showing the rebellion planting roots, not just with the people who are in it. Though. Yeah, I know, but I mean, I just like I said, I just felt like you almost could have not even had Cassian Andor in this episode and gotten the exact same result. I mean, beyond the fact that he got Bix out, that's it.
Yeah,
like nothing else. Like he doesn't almost get caught. Nothing.
This entire show hasn't been the Cassian Andor that in Rogue One, and I think that it has really been an entire story. And I think Andor is just the conduit that they're telling the story in how and why the rebellion needs to happen, will happen, does happen, and works. That's the important thing here. Besides the 47-second intro of the show itself, the fact that it has one specific symbol and insignia like above his actual name told me that this was going to be that type of story, like right off the bat. Every time I saw it, it was always with a form of the rebellion crest right off the bat. I knew that you can't tell a Cassian story without making it about the rebellion. There's just nothing, because I don't think you can find anyone that's as interesting as a Jedi or a Sith or someone in high stakes power. When you start telling the low man on the totem pole story, you have to do it in a way that is telling the big story. And that's exactly what I thought that they were doing throughout this whole entire show, and that Cassian was just the vehicle that we were going with throughout this whole entire show to get to that point. I loved the end. I loved because to me, with Marva holding her marbles until the very end and making that speech and having everything pre-planned, and that whole entire fight on Rick's Road, all of it was the culmination of what this show was trying to do. And it was trying to take people who were starting to feel that grasp of the Imperial, hand around their throat and really rise up. And that's happening all over the place, because we saw bits of this, the whole thing about like the Clone Wars and the Separatists and the clones and blah, blah, blah. All of that was right along the same type of thing.
Yeah.
But now you have the Empire, which is even 100 times stronger. They got no problem. They don't care.
Right.
To give him a 6 month to a 6 year sentence or whatever that case may be right off the bat on that planet.
Well, it was an infinite sentence, right? Because it was never going to end.
It basically was going to end up being. But, you got to follow one person. You got to see what that was going to happen. And I think that, to me, this whole entire show is about the rise of the rebellion. Right. I don't think there's another way that you can. Actually, I'll take that back. There are plenty of ways that you can tell it, but I don't think you can tell it in another way that doesn't involve focusing on one person or one group's plight throughout that whole entire thing. And so you get all of it in this. There's no reason that you need Mon Mothma, but she was part of the rebellion. Luthen is a fantastic character that they introduced. I mean, the dude is. I'm liking everything that he's got, every bit of it. He's got the coolest vehicles. He's got the best job that, he doesn't have to go to, but he does. He's sneaking around to do all of these things, undercover. I can't say enough about it that for a Star Wars show, it doesn't need to be a Star Wars show. Right. It's a good show. And even though that you're watching Game of Thrones, like, you can't compare it to that, because there hasn't been something that's been so easily there hasn't been such a good story that's been so easily told, in my opinion, not to mention in the Star Wars universe. It doesn't focus on like the Mandalorian. It doesn't focus on a specific character that you needed to have in the story to push it forward. So to me, I think Cassian's such a big reward for little risk, I guess.
Yeah, and the thing is, I like where they left us at too. Like I liked the final scene you get with Luthen and Cassian. I liked that. I like that as being like, okay, let's see where we're at next season. Like, that's a good point to be at. My thing is, like I said, the whole thing is bringing them to Rick's Road. You have this whole issue this whole time of Deidre. You got to find what's Apex or not Apex? What's the guy? What are they calling Luthen? You muted. Axis, yeah. And you got to find Cassian, right? So now you finally get to this point in this show where they're all together, not just together like on the same planet. They're all in the same city, on the same street, in the same time. And like, you couldn't have given me anything with like them crossing paths or them meeting.
But that's the point.
It's
all in disarray.
It just felt like they were building up to that, like this moment where Deidre's going to finally meet Cassian Andor. She hasn't seen him the whole time. She has no idea who he is. Only his stories and this and that. She's been chasing him the whole time. She's making it a point to go down there to this funeral and lock this place down because she knows he's coming. And he does. And you never get to see them meet. And it's like, I just felt like that was like that. I don't know. I wanted that. I wanted to see those two face to face.
Dedra is a 22 caliber bullet trying to kill a deer. Okay,
do it.
Now here's the problem: is that if you don't know that it doesn't work the first time, you don't know that you're going to need like a bigger bullet.
Yeah,
she's finding out that she can put the puzzle together, but she doesn't know just how big the puzzle is.
Yeah,
and I think that's really what the whole point of it being in complete disarray is, because no one understands just how big of the scheme of the scale that all of this is going to truly be on. Luthen has a grasp, but when you try to teach it to people like Vel and Cinta, they're clearly in. Well, Cinta's clearly in for the cause. Vel's trying to be all about it too. Cinta's just stab.
Yeah.
But when you're trying to bring in new people and you don't know what they're capable of, I don't think it's within Luthen's best interest to try to figure that out right off the bat.
Right.
He's kind of still in a point to where he wants he wants a match. He wants to be able to light a fire real fast and that thing to burn out and, move on to the next thing. Dedra doesn't quite understand what she's up against.
Right.
She gets that this is a big time scheme, but she doesn't understand how well that it's put together. And it's not. The only thing that's well put together is the people when they come together and rise up against something.
Yeah. Which, by the way, that speech, man, that made me want to stand up and fight somebody. Like, they know how to give some speeches on this show for sure.
All I could think about with that brick was another brick in the wall. Yeah. All I could think about. Yeah. And then, like, when she comes out and she's just all about, like, fighting, I'm like, I mean, this is pretty much like another brick in the wall.
Yeah. Sarah, you got any thoughts? Anything specifically you want to point out with this one?
I mean, I pretty much agree with what Ross was saying. As far as it's, but the thing about it also too is like I'm looking at the rise of the empire itself, because I mean they're still in kind of a state of disarray. It's kind of like we're the empire. Everybody's going to bow to us. Not necessarily. It's kind of like it's almost like they're like in an infancy type stage. They think they're the big baddie, but they don't really know how to be the big baddie. Case in point, when Luthen like took that ship out, the guy just stood there like, what do we do? We're the empire. Yep. Nobody's supposed to do that. Nobody's supposed to stand up against us.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's always been kind of like the theme. So that's, and then with Dedra having, this big plan, and then, like I said, everything just falls apart. See, not everything goes to plan.
Yep. Well, it's this is new to all of us situation, even for the empire, so learning as we go.
That's what I think the best part of it is, because it's awesome to get to see it on this scale, because we know the story.
Yeah, all we get to see is the stormtroopers and the TIE fighters.
We see it from the top, though. Like, we see it from, from the top of the rebellion down. Mm-hmm. So it's really cool to see this. It's really cool to see how we got to that point where it took all of that to get the rebel plans for the Death Star. Mon Mothma, I thought that her triple scheming with her husband and trying to backdoor all that information about his bad gambling habits, and like that could possibly be why the money got taken from her account.
Yep.
And then the homeboy listening in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when he was listening in, he's taking in all this entire facade that she's building, and she's actually having a true fight with her husband about something that she knows that she's making up. But homeboy's hearing it, and of course he goes right back and reports it. When he I can't think of the guy's name that she had to report, or he had to report it to, but when he's reporting it, that guy's thinking he's getting gold information. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, like this is what's happening? Like, okay. But was it at the end where they showed the son and daughter meet?
Yeah, at the very, very end. Yeah, it was after the Cassian and Luthen meeting. Yeah.
They didn't have a problem. Like, she looked, I don't understand. I don't understand why she's looking excited. I don't know what's going on with this. And that part is the part that I don't understand. Like,
I mean, she may have thought he was.
Do you rebel through religion? Is that what's going on?
I don't know. They haven't really explained a lot of religion in Star Wars. I guess there's just so many different races and universes and planets and everything. But I guess Jedi and Sith are almost a religion, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, they're referred to it as in the movie at some point. So yes.
Yeah. So
the scene between you got Cyril and his sergeant coming back, which, man, they are a duo. And they're sitting there in that cab, and they're just in unison, putting their hats on. Like not even sharing a word.
Why did they switch hats?
Did they switch hats?
They switched hats. Yeah. They took it. They took it off their head and they handed it to the other one, and they both put the other one's hat on. And I was like, why'd they do that? And that was all the scene. That was the whole scene. There's no words, no nothing, and then it flipped something else, and I was like, what the hell was that about? And that was kind of my thing with this episode. I was like, what's going on here?
I kept going back and forth on whether or not throughout this whole season, whether or not Cyril would end up going to the rebellion or whether he would be a diehard. I figured it was going to be a diehard. Part of me was like, he's got it in him that he could go to the other side. It would be interesting. But that scene when he was sitting there trying to save Dedra, and first off, talk about an acting lab on adrenaline. That woman She has a constant RBF, but man, she nailed that scene of feeling all the adrenaline. For a second there, I wasn't even thinking it was adrenaline that she was feeling because she was going off on something. But holy hell.
Well, it's
good
funny
on her.
She's getting dragged away by a mob, and then all of a sudden Sarah walks up behind her with a gun and just walks away with her. And I'm like, well,
yeah,
okay, whatever. I think that I think the possibility's there for him to want to switch. I think that this is going to come down to he's getting feelings. Like he has feelings. It's not even a matter of just wanting to, like, he has feelings.
Creeper
maybe
vibes.
Maybe he gets his heart broken and he decides, so like maybe that's what they're setting up for. I don't know. We'll see. The possibilities there for sure.
The music, and that will lead into B2. I think that when they first started playing music, I'm like, is this what passes for music on this planet?
Oh yeah, it was horrible at the beginning. Yeah.
Big problems.
Oh my gosh.
And
they were warming up.
So yeah, I just think, thank God. But then they turn around and they actually start playing music, and that's when, like I said, that was especially when that old school, like, historical revolution vibe started kicking in for me. I thought it was awesome. I thought that, especially they were coming from multiple different places and they were all settling on Rick's Road where the brick was going to be laid or whatnot. And they're putting all the Imperial people, like, on notice because they weren't supposed to do it. Like, it wasn't approved, which, once again, you shouldn't have to approve something that, was your way of life. Like, the other people come in.
Deidre gave them approved their permit though, just so that way she could make sure Andor went there.
They did.
Yeah.
But I thought that they showed up early for some reason. It felt like they weren't ready for it all to happen. And even though they wanted to come in at noon, they told them they had to come in later. I felt like they started at noon. At least the old hammer dude up top in the tower, which him knocking that stormtrooper out.
Don't you come in my tower?
Pretty cool. That was a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
With the heavy emphasis on B2 Emo, there is something about the whole post-Lucas era Star Wars universe that, man, if they don't make you feel the droids.
They give the droids
like
emotion.
Every one of them.
I mean, I know C-3PO had emotion, but they give the droids a different kind of emotion.
Oh, they give you like a real, like, look, K2SO.
It's like
even BB-8 without actually having to actually say anything. BB-8 had a whole lot more emotion and, like, interaction than any other droids truly did. Mm-hmm. And so that was your first taste. K2 was the next one. K2 was awesome. I still think that if they don't put B2 into a beautiful sunset that he gets to ride off in and his battery dies, then they better turn him into K2.
Yeah.
I think that you could pull that somehow that personality out. I don't know how droids work it. No, once again, another thing I don't understand about the universe.
Yeah, but I mean, look at Chopper.
Memory banks.
Chopper's fun.
Chopper, man, he jeopardized the whole mission for a new leg. I say so.
Oh, cannot wait for a live action Chopper because we don't have one. It's gonna be not cool.
I want all these characters live action from Rebels.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but did we not get to see Chopper in Rogue One? Is he not in one of, like, the very, like, super fast scenes on?
Do they specifically say it's Chopper, or is it just a droid that looks like him?
I think it's a droid. I think it was supposed to be Chopper. It was supposed to be like a cameo, but
I don't know. At that point in time, I didn't know about Chopper, so I definitely would have been looking for him.
They did, what was it? They did their own Stone and Sky chant. They started the fight. The fight was pretty cool. Once again, blasters really actually killed people. These stormtroopers could shoot and land shots. What else happened after that?
I mean, nothing really. He goes and gets Bix. He takes her to the ship.
Yeah, he saves his little crew.
Yeah, and then he kind of leaves and goes to Luthen. He says, "I'll find you," and I'm assuming that he's going to find them next season. Mm-hmm. So like I said,
you get the after credit scene. Did you watch the after credit scene?
I did not watch the after credit scene.
Oh my God,
dude, I'm so sick of post credit scenes, man. Like
you literally just have to move your mouse or
I don't even think about it sometimes.
Your remote.
I totally forgot about it. I'm not gonna lie. I knew about it, but I totally forgot about it.
Oh, you people! You're hurting. You hurt me on the inside. Do you know what they did?
No.
Do you know the thing they were building on that prisoner planet the whole entire time showed up at the end? Did
they tell you what they were building it? Oh,
yeah. Shut up! No, they didn't tell. No, they did. No, don't tell me that.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I gotta go watch it now. I gotta go watch it after the show. Yeah, all right, I gotta figure out they're building. See, they listen to us. Okay. I'm telling you, they listen to us.
It was so funny because it was a no more than a couple second scene, but when you're watching it, you're like, "Oh my fucking god!" You're like, "It was that the whole time." And look, people have guessed it. Like it's not like a difficult thing, but it was just one of those scenes to where it was just like, "That's perfect. Well done. Well placed. Perfect."
Cool. I am definitely going to check that out. Well, how long we got till the season 2 comes out, man?
Well, they started filming it. That's a message. I don't need a message. This past Monday.
Okay.
And it is, get this, slated to not in production until July or August of next year. So hopefully, they're working on it, doing all of the effects and stuff while they're also shooting. But I'm assuming that's a time frame that includes reshoots and everything else to go with it. I am of the mind that we're probably not going to get it next year. So I'm hoping early 23. I don't know if they've released anything else yet, though.
Early 24, you mean?
Excuse me, 24. I'm sorry. I'm not ready for it yet. Not ready for it yet.
Me neither.
Fellas, you realize 23 is right around the corner, right?
Right around the corner.
We have like 5 weeks, if that much.
Yeah, I just did my first Christmas shopping today. So yeah, trust me, I know I'm way behind.
I did too.
Yeah,
oh my
way
God,
behind.
I'm not ready.
Black Friday. Well, all right. Y'all want to wrap Andor up then for I guess almost 2 years?
Well, I'm probably going to watch the entire season because my other half hasn't seen it. He wanted to wait till everything was done, and I told him, I said,
"It's a good rewatch."
Yeah, it's a good rewatch. I'm kind of looking forward to that.
He's one of the people that Disney's complaining about not watching it.
I will say though, there are some shows that I think that is better suited for, like Peripheral, like we're about to talk about. That show needs to be a streaming show.
He was more interested in completing, I think, Bloodborne and whatever other 3 or 4 games he's got going on at one time.
When you start Game of Thrones, that's all you're going to watch on TV. I promise.
I watched the entire Wednesday series when I got sick, and I just watched the whole entire thing, and I have described it as a
Wednesday Addams.
It's like
a freaky. Wednesday. It's like a new
It's like a freaky Nancy Drew. But I'm gonna tell you, I was there. There were some things that were corny, but really, it was a great binge show. There's no reason I would have to watch it any other time, though.
Is it like adult Wednesday Addams, like Christina Ricci grown up, or like a kid playing?
No, she's like
no. There's a kid playing it.
Okay,
it's actually the girl that played the vice president's daughter in Iron Man 3. Never mind. Yeah, I'm gonna lose you on that one.
No way,
But Christina Ricci is in it. Wednesday is still a child. I can't think of the other actors and actresses' names, but it's a good show. You could totally watch it with your daughters. I don't know if they have any interest in the Addams Family stuff. It should have come out before Halloween. I've been saying it since they first announced it. When I found out that it was coming out near Thanksgiving, I'm like, why are they doing that? It has no recollection, no connection, no nothing. But it was good. Give it a shot. I watched that the movie, Slumberland.
Oh, the one with Momoa.
Yeah, that was actually a pretty good movie too.
Ashley wants to watch that now that she's seen Momoa as, what's his name, Khal Drogo.
Oh.
Like she knew he was Aquaman, didn't care before. She's seen him as Khal Drogo now. She's like, oh, I want to see that movie with him in it. I'm like, yeah, okay. Yeah, I bet you do. He's not gonna be shirtless in that one, baby.
It's a heartfelt movie. I mean, it
looks good.
Definitely not the worst thing he's done by any means. It's pretty good.
It's no. What's the one that your boy from Fast and the Furious did? Vin Diesel did the pacifier where he was a babysitter.
No, that's it, right? Pacifier,
Yeah,
wasn't that it?
Pacifier, yeah, something like that. Yeah, I don't know.
I can't say I've ever watched that.
No, like I told you
No.
guys earlier, I discovered like one of my favorite shows I haven't watched in eons is. I was sitting on the couch the other day. I told Brian, I was like, you know what? I want to watch some Chuck.
Oh yeah, I've watched the
Look,
first season recently.
the thing about it is the end of the third season was in 2010, and literally there's an episode that it's a Monday night episode. I was laboring with Gage. It got to be 8 o'clock. I told Brian, I said, I don't care what I got to do. You need to move some people in this room because you need to turn that TV on. And I'll be damned, I watched it. Gage didn't believe me. I said, look, I found it. I said, look, that's the episode. That's your birthday.
Huh?
Speak of the devil.
I'm not even a big fan of that Baldwin, but look, that made me love Ivana Ostrowski, or however you say her name.
Oh, but, yeah.
I mean, the two of them together.
That's Gage's middle name is Adam, and that's what I told him. That's where it was derived from. It's from Adam Baldwin. Mm-hmm. Because Jane Cobb, John Casey.
Yep.
So, two of my favorite characters, basically, because I had a cat named Jane, Jayne. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's a good show. It was a good show when it was on, but
there's a lot of stuff I remember seeing the first or second seasons that are like Firefly allusions, especially one of the I've actually got a shirt that says it. It's one of my favorite Jane Cobb's phrases, and John Casey said it, and I remember clear as day. And like I said, it was probably like 12, 13 years ago, no, 11, 12 years ago. And I'm like, Brian, he said it.
He said the thing. He did the thing.
I know. It was like, oh my God, I couldn't believe it. But yeah, that was fun times. Fun times.
Well, you got anything else you want to say about Andor? We'll wrap this one up for 2 years.
Yeah.
Unwrap it next, not next, but the following Thanksgiving.
It'll be about a year. Well, not 2 years. It'll be about a year.
We'll get some. I'm pretty sure we'll get some leaks, and we should have a trailer. I would hope by the end of next year.
No,
I would imagine.
Okay, well, it's gonna go in the back of my mind. I probably will forget about the show until the next one's announced and is close to coming out, and then we'll rewatch it again. I'm sure. So
I hope they shorten the intro. That's all that I want.
That's the one, dude. I can't stand hitting the skip intro button and then still having 30 seconds of intro to go after. Like I hit the skip intro button, and all it brings up is that little half crescent moon.
Mm-hmm.
That takes like 45 seconds for it to turn into the rebel symbol, and then takes like another minute and a half for it to turn into Andor. And it's like I hit the skip intro button for a reason. Like, why do you bring me to the last 45 seconds of the intro? It's irritating, but yeah, hopefully they do. They shorten that up. I get it's Andor. I turned it on. I know it. So, all right, well, let's wrap that one up. We've only got one left, I guess, and that's just Peripheral. Sarah, I know I was telling you to watch this show. I would still recommend watching this show, but I would wait till it all comes out. Because at the point I'm at with this show right now, I'm so freaking confused that I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch the whole thing in one sitting to really be able to understand. It's a lot to take in. It really is. The first few episodes you can keep up with, but once it gets to about episode 6, it really starts to like go off the rails with stuff they don't explain very well.
I think they're shooting themselves in the foot. I think the writers have they're either trying to tell a story that is way too long, meaning that they have more seasons of this show that they have planned, and they're not wanting to uncuff it all in the first season. But beyond really any true serious talk about it, the only thing that I can really say without a shadow of a doubt is they should be leading you on to something, and they're not.
Yes. I don't know where they're going. Yeah, I don't know what the point is. Like they haven't given me something to strive towards.
There's no ball in a cup. They don't have you looking for misdirection. They don't have you looking for, because you don't know what direction that you can go in, I think is the best way to say it.
And there's new rules every episode.
Yeah.
Every episode there's new rules, and it's like, what the hell?
I don't get it. No. I have been strongly testing my patience with this show, with wanting them to give me the explanation episode. And we are now in the last before the finale, and I haven't gotten it. I keep getting more and more and more. Look, there is a plot line that I can trace, but it's not the big plot line. It's totally a B, C, or D plot line.
And it's probably the one I'm thinking of too.
Like it's
right.
The what?
I can follow the sheriff plot line.
Yeah, the sheriff.
Like I can follow
Bob,
that one pretty closely.
Here's the
stuff
thing. I have
in this timeline. I can follow that pretty closely.
Exactly. Trying to understand the triad of the future and trying to understand the Research Institute and the whatever they call Lev Zubo's people, the plebs, the no, they call them something else.
Yeah.
But just trying to understand all that, I'm just like, man, there's nothing here. Like,
No.
there's no connective tissue that is binding this one story together. Not even to anything else, but to. And I hope that next week they give it to us. But man, this is a problem with week to week. This show right here should have been a full drop.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that I would have enjoyed it a lot more. Like I've really enjoyed it, but the last few episodes have really, really lost me. Like I've had to go back and rewind it. Like, what the hell did they say? Like, how does that make any sense? How does this tie into this? And I mean, I don't know. Maybe they'll surprise me at the end with this last episode, or maybe they're going to leave us on a huge cliffhanger. But the main thing is, I just don't know. I don't know what the end game is. I don't know what the objective of the show is. Like, I know that the doctor had something stolen from somebody we don't know yet, and somehow or another it has to do with these people in the past. It's like, well,
the Alita plot leads off into an ellipsis that I don't get. I keep trying to figure it out. Wolf, whatever you want to call him, trying to figure him out. What does it say? Oh, we're talking about Peripheral on Amazon. And that's the other thing. Like, this show is on Amazon.
Yeah.
Number one, they don't care about the subscriber base a whole lot because Prime Video is a side quest for Amazon.
You're paying for
But number two, if they're trying to get like a boost in ratings or like a boost in week to week following or something like that, then I mean, this is not the show that you do it with. You drop this show, and then once this show explains itself, in the subsequent seasons of this show, you can do that. But this show hasn't explained itself yet. It's like, it has a great premise.
Mm-hmm.
I love what they can do with it. I just don't know what they are doing with it.
Yeah, production, everything about it's really good. Like I said, it's just, I'm lost on it. We'll see what happens next week. Maybe next week they'll bring it together to a point that we can, at least to a point that I can say, okay, I'm ready to see more of this story. Like right now, quite honestly, you could get rid of almost everything in the future for me and just give me the story of what's going on right now in the present with the sheriff and Bob and the family.
This week they complicated it.
That's a story right there. Yeah. But we'll see what happens.
Complicated it with trying to talk about how, basically time paradox. People going back in and changing things, and here we are having a conversation between 2032, I think we're in, and 2099.
Yeah.
So we have these two time frames that we're dealing with, and so trying to understand what happens in the later one.
Yeah. And a lot of shit's happening then. So
a lot. The jackpot is a heavy thing that they haven't even began to touch on, other than to really just tell you like that it's happening faster than it did in the prime timeline.
Right. And now there's apparently like three timelines we're talking about now. There's like the timeline they came from, the timeline they created, and the timeline's accelerating faster than they were going, because it's like, whoa.
Yeah. And which, look,
back up a little bit.
To be fair, I have seen done in a lot of a sloppier way. Like, I have seen it messed up countless times. Mm-hmm. They're doing a pretty good job of holding it together. They're just not doing a good job of telling me why.
Right.
I just need some why. I need that questionable vowel in my life right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that's it. Season finale is next week. The show drops every Friday. It's 8 episodes in total when it comes out. I mean, we're going to talk about the finale next week, so I would assume that you can either hear us tell you to watch it or to not to watch it. Other than that, good quality. They put some money into it. I'm a fan. I like the actors and actresses. Just need the story to give me a little bit more. That's all.
Yeah, I've grown to like all the actors a whole lot more. Even Bob. Like, he's a great villain. Great villain. Which is a really good scene in this episode. But man, that guy's a badass.
I don't know why he had to cut his arm so hard, like
no,
all the way down. I'm like, you
I
could have just
always ask that. Yes, that is always the question. It's like people whenever they do the little blood thing, they're like, whoa, and they slice their hand open. I'm like, you could have just cut it. Like, just
if you
get a little
prick your
cut.
finger, it's gonna bleed
And,
super
just give a little
heavily.
cut and does the same thing. I promise you. You know, there's no point in putting a permanent scar on your hand for life. It's gonna take 6 months to heal. But yeah, I
it's all about theatrics.
That's right. That's right. Because it doesn't hurt in the movies.
Nope. Balls o still.
Well,
but that's it.
Yeah, that's it, man. That's all we got. I was gonna see if Cody wanted to come on and talk some Game of Thrones, but I just realized that I sent him the invite earlier, but I didn't hit the send button. So I just messaged him, see if he still wants to come on. If he doesn't, we'll talk about some Game of Thrones sometime because I'm still trucking through. I'm in the 5th season, episode 2. By the end of the night, I'll probably be 5th season, episode 5. By tomorrow, I'll probably be in the middle of 6th season. By the time and then I'm off Sunday and Monday, so there's a good chance I'll be in like season 7 by like Monday evening. The original plan was for me to look. White Chocolate Espresso asked if you've seen Wednesday Netflix. Yeah, Ross actually just watched that. Comment on it real quick again, so you can at least hear
decent show for, like I said, for an Addams Family show. I was never a massive Addams Family fan. Did like the movies. I am not a humongous fan of, what is the guy's name that plays in Portlandia? He's the Lord, I have to look it up real fast. Either way, most of all the characters in this show do a really good job of making you feel like the universe wasn't Fred Armisen. There you go, that's his name. They do a really good job making you feel like it is not a far stretch of the real world, trying to imagine all these different types of people live in it. I described it as a freaky Nancy Drew type story. I think it's only 8 episodes, I believe. And really, it was a nice, I think they're all like an hour long. It did not feel like it was 8 hours of watching TV. I was sick, so I just basically binged the whole entire thing over 2 days. Can't say that I really have much to complain about because I didn't go into it with anything. I think the actress that actually played Wednesday did a really good job. She has a dance scene in the show that's actually, it's very Wednesday Addams. But the show itself is pretty crazy.
Here's my thing. It's like I grew up in that time where like the Addams Family came out when we were in like elementary school and we were really young. So it was like my kind of movie growing up. I'd never liked the Addams Family much, but when I look at Christina Ricci, young Christina Ricci, that's who I picture as Wednesday Addams, you know, like just always in my mind. Then I grew up and I see Christina Ricci and Black Snake Moan, and it just totally changes my mind about the character.
No kidding.
So it's like, well, okay, now I don't know if I want to go back and boot my mind for who Wednesday Addams is, or if I just want to think about grown Christina Ricci and Black Snake Moan as Wednesday Addams for me. So I don't know if I'll watch it or not, but that's my mindset with it.
Christina Ricci is in the show. She plays she's almost like the dorm mom, but it's interesting. You have, what's her name that plays, oh my Lord, who does the Captain Phasma, Captain Phasma, who, oh my God, I can't think of anyone's name tonight.
I don't know. When you said Captain, you said Gwyneth. The only thing I think of was Paltrow.
Yeah,
it was. I know. Yeah, but that's not it.
But who plays the tall blonde chick in Game of Thrones?
Oh, Brienne. Oh gosh,
Brianna Tarr. There you go.
That's Brianna Tarr. I can't.
So she plays the headmaster at the school that Wednesday goes to.
Okay, gotcha. That's cool. It's so funny now that I'm so late to the show, coming to Game of Thrones, watching this. I see so many people, and I'm like, oh, I know them from this, and I know them from this, and people probably saw them in this, and are like, oh, they're from Game of Thrones originally. So,
bro, you get no clue. I've been watching West Wing over the past couple of weeks while I've been working, just because I can listen to it. Mm-hmm. And the amount of actors that are in that show and actresses that are in that show that have been in everything else, like since that show ended in like 2006, the list is on growing, is what it is, because there's just so many people.
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Like I said, I right now, everything pales in comparison to Game of Thrones for me right now. Like, it's the most real show with stakes that I don't know what's going to happen next. That like, I was even watching Titans earlier with the whole point with Superboy, and like he's sitting there, and I was like, well, he's not going to die. Like, I've been watching Game of Thrones. He's not going to die. I know it's Superboy. He's going to be fine. I was like, this is boring to me. I know he's going to be fine. Whereas Game of Thrones, no, you don't know who the hell's safe.
No, you assume everyone's going to die.
You just assume everybody at some point in time is surprisingly going to die.
Like, this bitch is like the Oregon Trail of real life is what it is.
It's crazy. Yeah, because this story is not about one person. It's about a time in history and the people that lived in that time, you know? And it is so amazing. I cannot stop thinking about it when I'm not watching it. When I'm watching other shows, I'm mad that I have to waste time watching other shows instead of watching Game of Thrones. I've actually already watched the first and second season twice because me and my wife were kind of watching it back and forth, and I've rewatched everything. Yes, the Red Wedding. Oh, the night I watched the Red Wedding. Oh, man. That was the night right there for me. That was the night of the Red Wedding was the night that I said, this show is my favorite show.
Yeah. Is that when you text me?
That was when I text you because that I have never felt that before ever watching television. What I felt in that moment.
I'm trying to tell you, man.
Oh my God. And Cody, you know, Kev's in the chat, like Ross, Nathan, I'm sorry. Y'all were right. This is the best show ever. I was a Tolkien guy, and I said Tolkien over Martin. I'm sorry. Martin over Tolkien now. Like, now, don't get me wrong. I still think the Battle of Helm's Deep is better than anything I've seen in Game of Thrones so far. Battle of Helm's Deep, but I haven't seen the. I was say I haven't seen the Battle of the Bastards or anything. I know there's a bunch of them in there. I haven't seen any of that yet. So, Battle of Helm's Deep still my number one fantasy battle right now. But man, Game of Thrones is really, really taking off. Sarah, I'm telling you, I think you'll really. I'm not even kidding when I say I can't explain the emotions I feel in this.
But like, Sarah's like, I ain't got time for this shit. There's 8 seasons of that. I ain't got time for this.
No, I'm telling you, eight seasons go by quick. And Ross, you told me you were like, enjoy it because you only get to experience this once, and you're right.
Yep.
I know you say there's a lot of different emotions. I'm just curious if my emotions will go the same route your emotions do.
I don't know. I can't explain to you.
Look, what the story of Daenerys and woman empowerment. I mean, it doesn't ultimately end in a fantastic place, but the journey that she goes on is fantastic. I think that you have you've seen the Red Wedding, but like, wait until you see the moment that comes from the Red Wedding. Okay. Wait until you get, there's one little, I'm trying to choose words here wisely so I don't screw it up for you. There's a moment that I love that calls back to the Red Wedding. And it's when, I can't think of the dude's name, but the guy that was the head of the table dies. That's like, I can't wait for you to kind of get that little bit of justification. I can't wait for you to get all these little tidbits of things that come back and just make it all that much better. Because when you watch this show in real time, week to week as years went on, it was just slowly all like, you know, they're fly fishing. They're just throwing it in and letting you get it.
Yeah.
And every bit of it was a golden nugget.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like I said, this show's just, I'm so happy that I get to experience it where I can just experience it all at once. And I'm reading the books. And like I said, the original plan was for me to watch a season, then read the book. Then watch a season.
Screw that up, didn't you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because here's the thing: the seasons are so effing good, and my wife just the HBO just plays the next episode whether you want to or not, and if it doesn't, then my wife does. But like, I watched the first like 7 or 8 episodes, and I was like, okay, I can go ahead and start in the book, right? Well, the first 7 or 8 episodes is what, 8 hours because they're about 55 minutes a piece. Well, the first 8 hours of the book is like the first 9 chapters, and there's 33 chapters. And I was like, no. I was like, this is going to take me way too long to read the books while I go through the chapters. I'll finish the story, then I'll read the books. That's what I'm going to do. So I've already bought them all, so I'll eventually read them. But
let me know how that works out for you.
Well, I have a lot of downtime in the day to listen to a lot of shit, so I listen to a lot of books now. So, and I'm loving the Game of Thrones books that I've read so far. So, like I said, the Fire and Blood was fantastic so far. What I've gotten into with the first Game of Thrones book is amazing. But yeah, like Sarah, it's just a matter of I want you to feel what I felt the other day when I watched it. So my wife was the same way. She was like, I can't remember the last time that a television show made me feel like this. To the point that I was even talking to my mom the other day, and I was like, Mom, I got something you gotta check out. I was like, I don't know if you'll like it or not, but if you haven't watched Game of Thrones, I was like, you should start watching Game of Thrones. And Mom said, really?
Yeah.
She said, you want me to watch Well, she said, you want me to watch Game of Thrones? And I said, yeah, it's amazing. She said, yeah, me and James watched it like 6 months ago.
I was going to say, the only thing that would make this better is if your mom punked you and was like, you haven't watched Game of Thrones yet?
That's exactly
what kind of little kid did I raise?
That's exactly what she was like, oh, so you don't know when this happens? And I was like, no. She was like, no, I won't spoil it for you. So, it's that amazing. Like, White Chocolate Espresso says House of the Dragon can't fuck with Game of Thrones. I think the production
spoilers,
quality
Greg.
of House
I
of the
want
Dragon.
to tell you right now, there's a prequel to the Game of Thrones show. It's actually out now. You can watch it. I don't want you to get left behind. It's called House of the Dragon.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Don't say no one told you.
That's right. That one I got covered. But yeah, totally. Cody, peer pressure, Sarah. Sarah, I'm telling you, you're gonna thank me when you get done. You'll be like, oh, it's so good. But she'll crack eventually. I know she'll watch. She'll get to like 3 episodes in. She'll have like a few hours one day.
I told
watch
you I'm
3
an episode and a
episodes
half
and be
in.
like,
I'm an episode and a half in.
Now I watched the first episode a long time ago and it didn't catch me.
Here's the
I
deal.
had to force myself to go past that, and then after that, man, it just I don't know where it just gets you.
Christmas is going to come.
That's what got me.
And then you're going to get ticked off because either you didn't get what you wanted or you got too much time in your house with your young ones. Just watch the entire series of Game of Thrones from Christmas to New Year's. Boom. Done. I'm saving you right now. It's a perfect time to do it.
You can do it. Yeah. I think if I finish it by Monday, which is probably I'm probably pretty close. I'll probably like episode season 7 Monday. It will have taken me about 2 weeks to watch the whole series. Like to watch the entire series. That's 10 seasons of 10 hour long episodes apiece.
That's a perfect time if it's your second or third rewatch. But man, like I'm telling you, for your first time, you gotta savor.
Watch it right now.
I can't savor it right now.
Like, I'm definitely savoring. Like I said, those feelings I felt, I hadn't had those good feelings in a long time.
Well, we only got one other thing to talk about before Greg loses another load on Game of Thrones real fast, and that is the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special.
Oh yes, y'all watched that. I have not. Talk about it.
We did, and I'm going to tell you,
I've seen it.
I'm not like a massive Christmas movie person, and this was really just a nice touch. I think it was a perfect little blend. Do we get Sarah? Do we lose Sarah?
She froze a little bit.
Oh, I'll talk until she gets unfrozen.
Hold on.
I thought. Oh, there she is.
Mm-hmm.
You froze. What happened?
You're good.
It's acting stupid.
This thing opened up with an animated intro. Perfectly tastefully done for like a Christmas movie. Gave you just enough of like an old school animated feel, and it brought back Yondu when Peter was a kid.
What's wrong with the spin?
It was pretty. They opened and closed this whole entire thing with it. I'm gonna tell you, like, it was pretty well done in the manner of any other Christmas thing that you've ever seen before. That is needed to tell a little bit of information without like making it seem like it actually happened in real time. And it felt very weird to be in the MCU universe, but it actually worked out really well. In this short little 40-something minute movie that they did, it was a nice piece that added on to the little bit of info that they gave you in Thor: Love and Thunder. Yep, that's what I was going to say. Perfectly added to the universe. It really helped you understand what was going on, because what we don't know that they just introduced is that the Guardians balked nowhere. They balked the head of that celestial, dying, whatever. You get to see Cosmos and Rocket. Cosmos is actually talking to Rocket. They're having a whole conversation. Apparently, they do a whole little musical number in this bit. They got a band that comes out and works. Groot. I don't know if you've ever remembered the Power of the Force action figure line from Star Wars, but Groot is the only thing in this thing that I can make sense of. Give me a time frame. He looks like a Power of the Force Star Wars action figure. Groot is what he looks like. He looks like he's all bulked up for no reason, and you see him as a teenager at the end of Infinity War or Endgame or whatever, and you get all the way to the point in Love and Thunder, and he didn't seem like he was that much older, period. But then in this, like, you got to see it because I don't know what it is. It's got some serious like he's shooting up some testosterone vibes or whatever you can call tree sap that would do the same type of thing.
Okay.
You figure out that this is all spoilers, but Mantis is actually Peter's sister. When once again, you say you've seen Guardians of the Galaxy 2, but you haven't watched the whole entire thing in one sitting.
No,
you get
but
a little bit.
Story. Yeah.
So Mantis shows up to actually come pick up Peter or to help. I guess Ego actually shows up, but Mantis is assumed to be like his slave or his woman that's working for him or whatever the case may be. So in this, we actually find out that she's supposed to be Ego's child also. So she is a step sibling to Peter.
Yeah.
The whole entire thing in the beginning has them going after Kevin Bacon, Drax, and Mantis. They're getting Kevin Bacon for Peter as a Christmas present. Weird, but it worked out.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, like, for 40 minutes, it was a real open and shut case. They did a really good job with it. They even got a little bit of the Smashing Pumpkins Christmas time song in there, which is, I like Smashing Pumpkins. And so if I got to listen to Christmas music, I like off-the-wall Christmas music.
Yeah.
Nebula is perfect in this thing. There's a whole scene where she just says one phrase. It's Kevin Bacon's running away and she's yelling out, "You can't outrun me, Bacon!" And like, it's just perfect. I don't know what it is. You have to watch it. I laughed my ass off at it, and I had no reason to. Maybe I was still high on Dayquil. I don't know. And then actually watching Nebula dance was a great number in itself too, because it was the second weirdest dance thing that I've seen all week. The first has to go to the Wednesday show.
Okay. I mean, it's definitely something I want to check out. I honestly didn't even know it had come out yet, or I probably would have watched it already. But it might be something I get together with girls and watch because it's
a fun little
they like to do.
It's
my oldest likes little funny Christmassy movies like that, so maybe she'll like it.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a great like after Thanksgiving little thing to put on. It doesn't feel like it takes it flows really well, so it doesn't feel like it takes forever to watch. You're not sitting down watching a whole entire movie. So like if you want to watch something before you choose a movie to watch, or if everyone's trying to figure it out, it's a perfect thing in between. The other thing was at the end you figure out that the first Christmas that Peter was a part of, Peter gave Yondu his very first little miniature thing. So when he was a fan of all those little things that he lined up on his control console or whatever the case may be, Peter gave him the first one, and then Yondu gave Peter the guns that he has for his first Christmas.
Okay, that's cool. Sarah, do you have any thoughts on it? I know you'd watch this too.
Well, I'm trying to get my damn internet to work, but other than that, stupid shit. But...
Internet troubles.
You're working. You're on. You're live.
Right. No, I mean, I thought it was fantastic. I mean, the whole Kevin Bacon thing just blew my mind because it was Drax and Mantis were just too much. It's too much. I mean, even Claire was screaming at the screen at Drax, and she sounded like Mantis. She's like, "Drax, what are you doing?" So yeah. And
is this something you think that you will be a holiday tradition to watch, or just a fun thing that came out this year?
I think we'll probably watch another couple of times. I kind of looked at Ryan. I was like, we need to put this in the rotation.
It's no Christmas Story, right? But it'll be there sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, it's something different other than like Rudolph and Frosty and that kind of thing. So
Yeah,
Rudolph
look,
never gets old.
This thing's got plenty of. It doesn't trap you enough to put it in anything. You can watch it countless times. Look, it doesn't tell any other story other than something heartfelt at the end, and that's what all Christmas stuff does. So, look, even Rocket made off with Bucky's arm.
Exactly, and even after he told Kevin Bacon, hey, we're not going to hurt you. Look, it's a talking raccoon. I'm going to kill you.
Yep.
Yeah.
The little bits of this that made the MCU really shine were fantastic.
Well, I'll tell you the perfect feel between any kind of Christmas movie that you want, any kind of Christmas show, special, it has to be somewhere right in between Rudolph, the original Rudolph, and Jingle All the Way with Arnold Schwarzenegger. The best 2 Christmas movies ever made right there. Somewhere in between that range is a perfect Christmas movie.
I'm going to have to ask you to keep moving the goalposts on this decision of yours. But
Jingle All the Way is great.
There's something that is as inevitable as your next breath until there's not one, and that's the fact that you're gonna get more Christmas content every year. So I'm happy with this one being a part of it. This is definitely, as far as the special presentations go, I thought that this and what was the name of the last one they just did for Halloween? Anyway, I thought they were both good and they were both timely for their release dates. So
man, Cody asked, is Nightmare Before Christmas a Halloween movie or a Christmas movie for us? For me, it's a Christmas movie.
Year round in my house.
It can be both, but yeah, my daughter loves it. So
this is Halloween. That's what we sing year round. It seems like so.
Look, see, Kevin explains or agrees with me. Jingle All the Way is a masterpiece. Yes, it is. Turbo Man. I always wanted a Turbo Man suit. Looked awesome.
Oh, I've not thought of Turbo Man in forever.
Yeah, now you're gonna watch that movie. I'm telling you, you should go back and watch that movie. You'll be like, damn, I forgot how good this was.
Yeah,
no, I gotta go back and watch Game of Thrones now. Apparently, it's the new hot.
It's Sinbad.
Trying to find that toy, that hot Christmas toy. Yeah.
I haven't watched the special yet, so I ain't got anything to say on it. Do y'all have anything else you want to comment on with
it? It was good. I recommend people watch it. Takes no time at all. It felt like they had a pretty good budget for the short of time that it was actually in. So I can't wait to watch Guardians 3. So that's just me. Oh, yeah. I've loved the Guardians story right off the bat. You're right. The second one isn't as good, but I don't dislike it nearly as much as you do.
Right.
I just think that the first one was
It's hard to beat that.
So
one.
Good. Yeah.
Look, I'm not a huge fan of Guardians of the Galaxy 2, but I am excited for Guardians of the Galaxy 3 because I do love these characters in this story. Even though the second one didn't hit it home for me, I think that they can still do a really good job with these characters because every time I see these characters on screen, I enjoy what I see. It's perfect comedic points generally. It's been kind of a Thor sidekick for the last few years, the Guardians of the Galaxy. So I'm ready to see them kind of be out from under that shadow. But yeah, I'm excited for it, man. It's Guardians of the Galaxy. It's one of 2 Marvel movies that I own on Blu-ray. Let's put it that way. It was the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
I definitely bought it on digital when it came out. I'm oddly enough okay with them ending the Guardians story because I thought that they had a pretty good run. I thought that the first one, the second one was okay. The fact that they separated in Infinity War, the way that everything came back, the way that they just seamlessly integrated into the Avengers in Infinity War and Endgame was so well written. Nebula especially, the full circle that she has made. So we get something like this. It feels fun and makes me extremely excited for the third one.
Yeah, Phase 5, right? 5.
Yeah. This right here. I believe this marks the end of Phase 4.
The Guardians of the Galaxy movie?
Yes.
Or the Christmas special?
The Christmas special.
Oh, okay. So they're actually using that as the end of a phase, okay?
Well, either it is or it isn't. Either it's the beginning or the end. I can't tell you. Oh. End of 4, beginning of 5.
I was wondering if we were going to talk about this right here, and Cody's asking, did you guys hear Chris Hemsworth, because I always say that wrong, right? Hemsworth doesn't want to come back to play Thor, not unless the writing changes substantially.
It's not what he
I've
said.
heard so many different things about this. It depends on what source you're reading, to be truly honest.
It's all about context. You can't add context to somebody's written word. And and here's the thing: the actual interview that he did said that he wants to keep Thor moving, and that's what he's been doing. So when he started off, he was happy to have Thor. He felt bad after the second one because he didn't think that, he didn't understand how Thor fit into this whole entire big thing. His addition to the Avengers movies are what made it difficult for him to understand how he could stay relevant in all of this time change. He liked what Taika Waititi did. People come out and are using all these quotes to say that he doesn't like what Waititi did. He had no problem with it. He generally likes working with Taika. The issue is that he just wants to keep evolving the character. Mm-hmm. And I can't even call it an issue because it's not an issue. Depending on what you read makes it an issue.
Right.
All that he wants to do is to keep the character fresh and to keep it going, keep it moving, because it's just going to fall to the wayside if it doesn't. Thor is the only one with 4 movies. Mm-hmm. Thor is the only one that is still, has nothing right now that's bogging him down in the universe. So in all reality, he could keep going as long as he wants to actually keep going. He is going to want to end playing Thor at some point. All of them do. We're lucky that he enjoys working out. Because if he didn't enjoy working out, he'd probably be done a whole heck of a lot sooner. Because that's exactly what
big without enjoying it, though. I'm sorry, you get that big when you enjoy working out, not just because you're trying to stay healthy.
Yeah, and it's very, very much like Dwayne Johnson. They just enjoyed it. And look, here's the thing: Chris Hemsworth. He has so much more that he wants to do, and he is doing. He just came out with the whole entire travel show with him doing all these deadly things that you most likely won't survive if you do. But of course, he's freaking Thor, so he's doing them all and surviving.
He's also being surveyed by people who are probably making sure he's safe the whole time too, and we don't see that behind the scenes.
There's an insurance clause. Yes, there's plenty of things. That's what I'm saying. But all I'm saying is that he wants to keep this. He wants to keep it all moving. He thoroughly enjoyed, or he thoroughly liked what they did when they injected him into Endgame as Fat Thor, or Thick Thor, as everyone else calls it. He just likes all these things changing, and so as long as the story keeps changing, he's happy with it. Yeah. All these articles that keep coming out have been all over the news, and when you sent me one, and I was like, "But that's not what he said." Like it's
right.
like.
And I even said that when I sent it, I was like, based on who this article is, I don't know how valid this statement is. And that's my thing is I've read a bunch of different articles that have said a bunch of different things. And I've even seen stuff come on my timeline today about how the entire MCU is done with Waititi. And I'm like, well, where did this come from?
We live in an upside down world right now.
Where did this come
from?
You
and I, the 3 of us right here could have a conversation. We could make some news. And you know what? Some idiot, I don't know, don't want to call anyone an idiot because we don't have that many listeners, but if anyone decided they wanted to write an article, it could be picked up by anyone anywhere. And next thing you know,
take a little snippet of what we said.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't report news. I talk about what sourceful information I actually find. That's the bad side of it. Yeah. That is true.
Oh, what's that? The Blade stuff? Yeah. Lovecraft Country director is doing the Blade, and I'm hyped for it.
I've been waiting.
Blade's like starting to turn into Flash. We heard about this a long time ago.
Yeah.
Well, it's had its issues. I think this is another one of those. Look, you're going to get a lot of post-COVID and Bob Chapek issues. Like you're going to get a lot of things that are going to be problems. They have enough going forward to where we're not going to be jammed up. Like we talked about this when Thor came out. About the amount of content. It's like 48 some hours versus the 12 hours that they actually had in phase 1. So phase 1 was like 12 hours of content versus phase 4, which is like 48 hours of content up at that point. Dude, there's just so much. Like, I'm fine with Blade being delayed and like them talking about it. I'd much rather than make a good movie. And Homeboy is a great director. He's come up with like 3 or 4 things now that have been really good. So
yeah. I'm right there with you too. I'd rather wait for good content. I'll wait a little while for good content than to get crap. I saw an article today. Once again, I don't know how true this stuff is. Talking about Michael Keaton and how they're reducing his role in the Flash movie and how he wants to separate from the DC and this and that. And I'm like, Are they not done with the Flash movie yet? Like they've been filming this movie for like 9.5 years, haven't they?
You know who's making money off this? All these people making articles for no fucking reason.
Yeah, well, that's why I look at the source and I'm like, do I want to click in this article or not? I'm just going, no, I'm not going to click on the article because I don't believe them. So I'll Google it and see if somebody else says something about it. But yeah, like they're still making the Flash movie. Like, what's going on with this? We're never going to see this movie.
Can keep making it until they actually have to send it out. So even then, look, Star Wars and hell, even MCU, all these Disney properties nowadays are proving quite well that you can release one thing in the theaters and then completely change it when it comes to TV. When it comes to a streaming service near you, it can have totally different content in it.
That's true. And sometimes you get a better deal. Justice League, So, but I don't know, man. I'm ready for a Flash movie. I've just heard about it forever. I don't particularly like the Ezra playing the Flash anymore, just because I just don't like the guy personally. But at this point, when the movie comes out, he's going to be like 9 years older than he was when they recorded the movie. Or they filmed the movie. So it'll be a really easy way to do a time jump for the next movie.
Can I tell you right there? That is the reason why I did not want to see Henry Cavill at the end of Black Adam. It's only because it took so long for Black Adam to come out. And now here we are talking about what we're going to do with the DC universe.
Yeah, but I
don't need this stuff, man.
In the suit one more time, man.
That's true, but you know what? I could have dealt with a weird ass YouTube video, someone recording him in a suit doing some promo shots or something. I get it. You see it on the big screen, it changes everything, but it also confuses everybody. It confuses me. Well, we sat here and talk about Titans and everything else. It all confuses me.
That's all Titans needs to do to save their season, is just do one quick 15-second cameo of Henry Cavill coming down to Superman on the screen, and it'll be the best season.
Like, what is your little snake ass doing? I don't understand.
Best season of Titans ever, right there. There you go, from that 15-second clip. So that's all I got. I'm spent. It's getting late. The winter's coming. So I decided I'm going to start saying that for everything now. Everything. Getting late. And the winter's coming.
I hope your kids laugh at you.
They do. I mean, my kids laugh at me already anyway. So that's a given. But yes, I've got, let's see, it's 11:15. I've got to be at work in 6 hours, which means that I could probably watch at least an episode and a half of Game of Thrones before I got to go to sleep for work. So,
all right, Greg, the first step to having a problem is
admitting you have a problem. You guys hooked me on this. You guys gave me my first hit. Okay, you gave me the first hit. You introduced me to the dealer.
Have we been talking about Rebels, and you haven't even finished Rebels?
I did watch a full season. I watched a full season of Rebels the other day, but I will tell you, Rebels is a fantastic show. It doesn't hold a candle to Game of Thrones, though.
Yeah, nothing does.
Doesn't hold a candle to Game of Thrones.
You missed the boat on that one.
Yeah, so... But all right, let's get out of here. I'm gonna go try to get one more in. Folks, give us a like, give us a share, subscribe. We're here every Friday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube, unless we decide to do it another day. Sarah, where can they find you at?
You can still find me on the Twitter at My Lady Kitten, and sometimes you can find me on Instagram and the TikTok too. So I'm everywhere.
Hell yeah!
Behind the scenes.
Ross, where can they find you if they want to talk to you? Give me a call.
Nope, and not the one that the Guardians bought.
I hear you. Good deal.
Right here, right now.
You can find me on the Bat Daddy 52 on Twitter is my personal handle. Check out at GCS Podcast 1 is the show handle. Beyond that, we'll be here next week. And until then, keep at it.